I was bored, so I took an online gig to drop by someone's place and feed their cat. But the moment I stepped into the client's apartment, I saw the couple selfie on the console table. I didn't know the girl, but I knew the man. He was the boyfriend I'd been dating for 7 years. While I was still frozen, the girl pinged me again. "Hey, you at my place yet?" My chest went instantly sour. Still, I forced myself to answer, "Yep, just got here. About to scoop the litter box." "Great. After you finish, could you spritz a little room spray? My boyfriend can't stand the cat smell." "Oh, and when you leave, could you drag the trash bag down with you?" Rowan. Thanks to her reminder, I spotted the used condom wrapper lying on top of the trash. I finally couldn't hold it in. "Is the guy in the picture your boyfriend?" She replied in a flash. "Yup, his name's Julian. We've been together a year. We're crazy about each other. We're actually getting married this year." "Do you have a boyfriend?" A tear splattered on my phone screen. "I did before I walked in. I don't anymore." Before we go on, make sure to subscribe, then tell us in the comments where you're listening from. The girl instantly shot back a question mark sticker. I wiped my eyes, aimed the camera at the ginger kitten hiding in its cubby, snapped a photo, and sent it over. Then I changed the subject. "Your cat's kind of a scaredy cat." Again, she answered within seconds. "Yeah, but she adores my boyfriend. He's allergic to fur, yet every time he walks in she crawls straight into his lap. Poor guy has to pop antihistamines every other day. How about you? From your profile I can tell you love cats. Why don't you have one?" "Why don't I? Probably because my boyfriend, also named Julian, was allergic too." Madly in love, the year we decided to move in together I volunteered to rehome the cat I'd raised for 5 years to my mom's place. I only go back when I miss her so much it hurts, snap a few pics, and virtually cuddle her before bed. Only now do I realize another option had existed. Julian could have simply taken allergy meds. My chest cramped again. Not wanting to waste more time chatting, I typed, "Sorry, better get to work." I powered the phone off, scooped the litter box, refilled the water bowl, poured fresh kibble. After all, she'd gone to such lengths to lure me here, steering the topic back to Julian every time I tried to dodge it. If I didn't honor her stagecraft by taking enough photos around her and Julian's home, by hoarding enough evidence, I'd be letting her down. I left half an hour later. The instant I reached the gate of Meridian, Julian messaged me, "Working late tonight, don't wait up, skip dinner for me." The pictures in my phone already screamed betrayal, every surface in that apartment plastered with selfies of the two of them. Vacation shots. Date night candids right here in Riverdale. Snapshots from restaurants Julian and I frequent. Even group photos with his tight-knit buddies. On the nightstand sat the matching band he told me he'd lost, the one we'd worn for 7 years. Still, I clung to a thread of hope. I had to see him walk in with my own eyes. So I crouched by the compound gate until 8 p.m., shivering through the late winter snap. I never spotted him. Defeated, I hailed a cab home. The second I stepped inside, there he was on the couch, fingers dancing on his laptop keyboard. A needle of pain stabbed straight through my heart. The moment he heard me, Julian jumped up. "Where have you been? It's so late. My client tonight wasn't critical, so I bailed to be with you." He took my hand. "You're pregnant, barely 3 months. Stop running around. Quit those online cat-sitting jobs. Doctor says the first trimester is the riskiest." He slid open the drawer, produced my slippers, and bent to put them on me. He's always like this, gentle, considerate, eager to do everything for me the instant he walks through the door. Even my convoluted emotions surface before I've sorted them myself. He senses every tremor. Tonight is no different. After settling me on the sofa and draping a throw blanket over my knees, he spoke softly. "You're scared you won't be a good mom, aren't you? Don't worry. I've got you. TikTok's algorithm feeds you what you obsess over. The more you dwell, the more horror stories it pushes. Right now you just need to rest, grow our baby to 3 months, and then marry me." Ever since the test turned positive, terror of both marriage and motherhood has clawed at me. Of course it has. Dad cheated when I was 5, their divorce split our world in two. I've lived with Mom ever since, and every time I defied her she'd retell the tale of my birth, catastrophic hemorrhage, doctors yanking out the retained placenta by hand. She blamed me for Dad's affair, claimed her pregnancy denied him a man's basic needs, driving him to cheat, to choose a mistress over her. Because of that, through 7 years with Julian and 4 living together, I refused every proposal he offered. Until this accident, this baby. Until the night Julian broke down, begged me to keep the child, swore he'd never make me follow my mother's path. Only then did I decide to carry the pregnancy, to finally marry him. And the instant I believed him, embraced our child, embraced becoming a family, Julian cheated. Tears slapped onto his suit, soaking through to the throw blanket. Panicked, he snatched tissues and dabbed my cheeks. Shoo, shhh, it's okay, husband's here. He hugged me so hard I could feel his heartbeat. The warmth only sharpened the ache in my chest. I couldn't stand it anymore. I lifted my head, ready to confront him about the girl. But the instant I looked up, I caught sight of a half-hidden love bite peeking from the open collar of Julian's shirt. Disgust and nausea swallowed the words I was about to speak. I even shoved Julian away on instinct and bolted for the bathroom. I dropped to my knees over the toilet and retched violently. The attack of morning sickness also made me replay Julian's odd behavior this past month. Ever since the doctor warned Julian and me that we couldn't share a bed during the first trimester, Julian had fallen into the habit of staying up late. By the time I drifted off, he would still be out of the bedroom. I thought he was afraid he wouldn't be able to control himself. Only now did it slam into me. He was terrified I'd notice another girl's marks on his skin. The pain in my chest spiked even sharper. Outside the bathroom door Julian's frantic knocking started. Ivy, are you okay? Ivy, is it morning sickness again? The second the last syllable left his mouth his phone rang. A heartbeat later I heard him answer. What, you need me at the office now? I don't have time for your case, my wife is pregnant and she's throwing up. What? The client insists on seeing me, says they'll switch counsel if I don't show tonight? Fine, I'm on my way. He hung up and knocked again. Ivy, open the door, let me see you. Please, I'm not disgusted, I just need to know you're alright. My chest throbbed, the vomiting had left me limp on the tiles. I couldn't stand the sight of Julian right then. I swallowed the sob and answered as evenly as I could, your firm needs you. If it's urgent, go. I'm fine, just morning sickness. Once it's out, I'll be okay. Don't worry. If anything happens, I'll call. Apparently the crisis at Hartwell was real. After a few hurried reminders he strode toward the entrance. Minutes later I heard the front door slam. My body sagged, and tears slid down in a steady stream. Julian and I had been classmates since high school. He'd been number 1, I'd been number 2. Even then the rumor mill pegged us as a couple. We spent every day together, yet we weren't dating. My head was stuffed with nothing but textbooks. Julian's gaze had always been gentle, even indulgent, but he never actually confessed. So in college I dated another boy. 2 years later we broke up over something trivial. Only then did Julian finally admit he'd been in love with me for 6 long years. The ache in my chest turned suffocating, and the phone in my pocket buzzed. It was the client who hired me to feed her cat again. Did you steal my diamond solitaire when you came today? My tear-soaked lips curled into a smirk. I wouldn't need to park myself outside the mistress's meridian after all. The girl would serve Julian's infidelity up herself. I wiped my face and typed back, I didn't see a ring. Do you want me to come over now? She replied instantly, yes. Be here in 30 minutes. Even with my heart in pieces I dragged myself up, scrubbed the tear stains away, and changed into something severe before hailing a cab to her brownstone studio. I pressed the bell, the door swung inward. The girl looked me over with disdain, arms folded. All dressed up, yet you steal. I met her stare without flinching. Her features were delicate, her outfit worth a semester's tuition, wildly out of place in this cramped rental. Whose money kept her polished was obvious. I kept my voice level. No need to call me a thief, I already phoned the police on the way. When they arrive we'll let them decide. Shock flickered across her face, she hadn't expected that, but a second later she lifted her chin. My boyfriend is a lawyer, the cops can't touch me. You're the only stranger who's been inside, who else took it? She tapped her phone and whined into it, Julian, that woman showed up and called the cops. I'm scared, come, please. 2 perfect tears slipped from her eyes, the picture of fragility even a woman would want to shield. So this was the justification Julian used for cheating? Whether the phone was naturally loud or she'd cranked it up, I heard the low male reply as soon as she finished. I'm on a make-or-break case. If the officers take you to the precinct for a statement, just go, I'll be right behind you. The line clicked off, but I recognized Julian's baritone. Tears almost betrayed me, but the officers arrived in time to keep them from falling. Just as Julian predicted, the cops asked a few questions. I denied taking anything, she insisted no one else had entered. Without cameras, they had to bring both of us to the precinct for paperwork. We'd barely sat down when she pointed at the band on my index finger. "Officer, I didn't notice in the dark, but here under the lights, she's wearing my ring." She produced a receipt from her purse and handed it over. The officer asked me to remove the ring. I complied. He compared the specs line by line to the receipt. Finally he glanced up, brow creased. "Miss, this piece matches the description exactly. Do you have a receipt proving you bought it?" I didn't. Julian had slipped it on my finger half a year ago as my birthday gift. I'd never imagined needing a scrap of paper to prove it belonged to me. When I stayed silent, the girl's face flamed. "How vicious can you be? I paid you to scoop litter, and you stole my diamond. Do you have any idea how important this ring is to me? My boyfriend gave it to me half a month ago, my Valentine's gift. I was so afraid of losing it I couldn't bear to wear it. I left it at home, and you actually stole it." Watching her bare her teeth like a cornered raccoon, my chest seized so tight I couldn't breathe. Because a moment earlier I'd caught sight of the receipt in the officer's hand. The payer's signature was Julian's. So back then Julian had bought 2 identical rings? One for me, one for this girl. Tears almost slipped free before I could stop them. The cop also misread my expression. After that I admitted the crime. He stood, holding out a confession form. "All right, since you took it, sign this and we'll process it." The girl's mouth flooded with triumph. She rose beside him. "Officer, I want this woman locked up for life. Using cat-sitting as an excuse to steal, she has to pay." The pain in my chest evaporated, even the tears I'd almost shed shrank back. I stood calmly and looked at her. "Who's the thief? Time will tell." I pulled out my phone to call Julian. Before I could hit dial, a familiar, velvet voice came from behind. "Serena, did that woman admit she took the ring?" The instant she heard him, Serena beside me spun and ran to Julian. She confessed, she confessed." "Sorry to make you come." My fingers crushed the strap of my bag. I bit my lower lip so hard it bled, forcing myself to turn. That turn showed me Julian, and how close they were. The girl he'd called Serena had her arm through his and rose on her toes to kiss his cheek. And Julian, using the same fingers that used to ruffle my hair, brushed hers and said gently, "You must have been scared. Don't worry, I'll handle this." Seeing that tenderness, my chest spasmed again. I was done being an audience to their farce. I steadied my voice. "She wasn't scared. I was." Julian's body jolted as if he'd seen a ghost and he shoved the girl away. I walked straight up to him and, before anyone reacted, slapped him so hard the crack echoed. He stood frozen. Serena, shoved aside, didn't even glare. She planted herself in front of him. "How dare you hit my boyfriend?" I ignored her, eyes on Julian. "When did you start sleeping with her?" Panic flickered in his eyes. A heartbeat later he masked it, grabbing my arm. "Ivy, let's go home. I'll explain everything, slowly explain. Nothing but forced excuses." While my lips trembled, Serena lunged again. "You're the girlfriend he's wasted 7 years on, won't marry him, won't give him kids. If you won't give Julian children, step aside. You don't love him, I do." Her shriek snapped the last thread. I slapped her, exactly what she'd schemed for. Then I fisted her hair and landed 2 more. She didn't fight back, just whimpered, "Julian, save me." Finally Julian woke from his daze, but instead of separating us he shoved me, hard. "Enough, Ivy. We'll talk at home." I staggered, the small of my back slamming the desk edge. Pain stole my breath, tears spilled. I wiped them calmly and turned to the officer. "Could you call 911? I'm pregnant, I think I'm having a miscarriage." "Yes, miscarriage." I felt the warm stream down my thighs. A month ago Julian had kissed my ultrasound printout, thanking me for giving him a child. Now he and his mistress had punched that future out of me. When he saw the blood pooling, his whole body shook. I curved my lips in a blade of a smile. "Julian, this time I really can't give you a baby." Then I blacked out on the precinct floor. I woke the next day to Julian slumped beside my bed, Taylor, pain etched into every line of his face. I looked once and said coldly, "Shouldn't you be comforting your new girlfriend?" He jerked upright. "Ivy, are you hurting? I'll get a doctor." I laughed, sharp and thin. "Before doctors, let's discuss our breakup." I pushed myself upright. "You and your mistress beat me into a miscarriage in front of the police. How do you plan to pay for that?" Sorrow flooded his eyes. I waited for the apology. Instead he blurted, "Ivy, don't blame Serena. She's young, she couldn't accept our breakup. She only messaged you about cat-sitting to stir things up. She framed you for the ring because she loves me too much. I've made it clear, it's over. She'll never bother you again. The baby, we'll have another after we marry. Even now he's defending her. Even now he thinks I'll still marry him. My smile cut deeper. Fine. If you want me to let it go, tell me, when exactly did you and Serena start? Seeing the mockery in my eyes, Julian immediately dropped his head, ashamed. I started with her a year ago. I gave a talk at her law school. She came up afterward with a hypothetical case and asked how she should argue it. She looked so young and eager, so I let her add me on WhatsApp. After that she'd message me day and night about her coursework. One night she called, hysterical, said some guy was tailing her back to her brownstone studio. She was crying, so he didn't finish the sentence. I finished it for him. And then you went to her brownstone studio and slept with her. Coincidentally, she was a virgin, so you felt guilty. After graduation she needed a job, so you slid her into Hartwell as an intern. All the while you played the perfect fiancé to my face, but you were already running 2 households. Am I right? Julian stared at me in horror. I curled my lips in a sneer. Surely you didn't think I'd catch you cheating and not dig into Serena? At that his mouth trembled again. I'm sorry. Everything's my fault. I lost control. But Serena's innocent. Mockery stitched itself deeper into my smile. Alright, if it's all on you, let's talk about us breaking up. The word breakup flashed across his face like an electric shock. Break up? No. I won't. He clamped my wrist so hard his knuckles whitened. Listen, Ivy, I swear I'll never cheat again. This was the one time I slipped. I love you, only you. Please, I'm begging, forgive me this once. Forgive? He actually expected forgiveness. My baby, unwanted, maybe, but still mine, had been punched out of me by him and his mistress, yet here he was begging for absolution. Funny how I'd never noticed how shameless Julian could be. Still, I didn't want to burn every bridge. So I zeroed in on the fatal flaw in his story. You claimed Serena was so in love with you that when you tried to dump her, she lashed out and deliberately lured me to her apartment out of spite. So tell me, when exactly did you dump her? His expression collapsed. The day you told me you were pregnant, I broke it off with her. Sarcasm exploded across my face again. So you'd been broken up for a whole month, yet 2 tears and a phone call were all it took for you to ditch a crucial meeting and sprint to the police station. And now you promise you'll never cheat again? Julian, do I look like an idiot? I was trembling so hard with rage that my tears vibrated loose and streamed down. Seeing me cry only deepened his guilt. His face turned chalk white. He opened and closed his mouth, but no words came. I decided this was the perfect moment. Julian, I've known you since high school. All these years I loved you, so much I wanted your child, wanted to marry you. I kept saying I didn't want kids, but you know what? I did, because I wanted a little boy who looked exactly like you. You know I never cry. But this time I can't take it. If you insist on staying together, fine, give me the penthouse condo and every dollar in your accounts. I need security. I bit down on the word security until it cracked. My tears finally cracked him. He lunged forward, frantic. Don't cry, Ivy, please. The doctor said you're still in confinement. Okay, it's all yours, just don't leave me. He hugged me so tightly my ribs creaked. I buried my face in his chest and sobbed hysterically. Julian, you're despicable. You gave me hope, made me believe I could be a normal woman walking down the aisle, then you ripped it to shreds. You knew I couldn't live without you, yet you still humiliated me this way. My shoulders heaved, every vertebra rattled. The grief was real, but the disgust was bigger, because his shirt still carried Serena's perfume. No doubt he'd soothed her before sneaking into my hospital room. My heart felt vacuum-sealed, but I gave him no chance to backtrack. While he was still in the ward, I called the lawyer I'd booked in advance. We signed the purchase agreement right there. I even paid the hefty transfer tax on the spot so the penthouse was mine before dinner. That same night I unloaded the proceeds for $200,000 less than market value. The next morning, when he kissed my forehead and said he was going home to change, actually meaning he was running to Serena, I smiled sweetly and waved him out the door. The instant he stepped into the corridor, I packed my bag, discharged myself, and boarded an international flight. From the moment I discovered the affair, I'd never wanted Julian's heart, only his money. After all, I'd quit my job for the pregnancy. The cash was compensation I'd earned. Julian realized I was gone the following day. The moment he did, he called. "Ivy, where are you?" Calmly I answered, "Julian, I've thought it over, let's break up for real. Since you're struggling to choose between Serena and me, I'll make it easy. I wish you two a long, happy marriage and a house full of kids." Then I hung up and blocked his WhatsApp without hesitation. After that I emailed every client on his current docket the surveillance clip of him cheating. Julian specialized in divorce, exactly why he'd felt safe transferring assets, confident he could claw them back in court. He never dreamed I'd flee, especially out of the country. Most of his clients were women whose husbands had cheated. Imagine learning your lawyer is the same brand of garbage. I figured trust would be impossible for him to regain. For good measure, I handed the client files I'd memorized over the years to a rival attorney at another firm. Lawyers live on billable hours. That rival would gleefully poach every case Julian had. I lost my child and my dignity, so Julian could forfeit 7 years of case sources. Fair is fair. On top of everything else, I did one more thing. I compiled everything I'd dug up on Serena back in China and mailed it to Julian from a throwaway account. Serena had never been the innocent she pretended to be. From day one she'd latched onto Julian only to snag an internship. She wasn't some blushing virgin either, she'd been campus famous for collecting boyfriends. Days before she slept with Julian she'd checked into a clinic for hymen reconstruction surgery. Julian was simply too dense to notice the trap snapping shut around him. After I'd set the last domino falling, I stopped following his life altogether. The night Serena texted me to feed her cat, the same night I caught Julian cheating, I started drafting the blueprint. The miscarriage wasn't caused by the bump alone, I swallowed the pills myself. The fall only hurried things along. That's why I never pressed felony charges. Julian was a lawyer, one forensic sweep and he'd know. 2/3 of his net worth was enough. With that kind of money I could buy any man I wanted. 3 months after I landed overseas I had a new boyfriend, a gorgeous, energetic Chinese grad student who made sure I forgot Julian's betrayal between the sheets. I spent Julian's money touring the world with him, posting sunsets and champagne on every beach. When I got bored I ended it. The kid grabbed my wrist, eyes bloodshot. "Can't we stay together?" I smiled. No. I hadn't expected Chase to chase me next. He camped outside my apartment with breakfast, flowers, and puppy-eyed apologies until a year later I fled home to China just to breathe. The instant I stepped off the plane at Riverdale International, Julian was there, no longer the red firm prince, just a guy in a faded polo handing out credit card flyers. When he saw me his eyes flared scarlet. "Ivy, you're finally back." I slid on sunglasses and tried to walk past. He lunged, catching my wrist. "Ivy, every single day these 3 years, I've missed you." Before I could answer, Chase slipped out from behind me, shoved Julian backward, and barked, "Hands off my girlfriend. Touch her again and I'll have you charged with assault." Chase lifted his chin, then draped an arm over my shoulder. Julian's stare curdled with hatred, but I didn't spare him a second glance. I flicked Chase's hand away and strode toward the exit. Deadweight exes, nothing but a headache. Curiosity finally got the better of me, so I asked an old contact what had reduced Julian to this. Turns out the file I'd mailed pushed him over the edge. He stormed to Serena's brownstone studio demanding answers. She didn't even fake remorse. The fight turned so loud the neighbors called the cops. Because Julian threw the first punch, and it was on the record, he served 15 days in county lockup. Serena, still furious, leaked every client file she'd copied while his assistant. By the time Julian walked free, the bar had revoked his license and Hartwell had fired him. Law was the only trade he knew. Selling credit card sign-ups on street corners was all that was left. I felt my old smirk tug at my lips. Then Chase, realizing charm alone wouldn't win me back, started weaponizing wealth. He'd idle below my window in a different supercar each morning, balancing a brown bag breakfast and an armload of roses. I'd always suspected he wasn't an average student. His taste for expensive mischief was too polished. The moment I sensed I was losing emotional control, I pulled the plug. Finally I cornered him. "What exactly do you want?" He dropped to one knee on the sidewalk. "Marriage." I let out a soft laugh. "You know I'm allergic to wedding vows." Chase only smiled. $8,800,000 dowry, and a $20 million house in your name, marry me?" I paused half a beat. Deal. So we got the license, then threw the party. I could live without love, money would do nicely. I'd expected objections from his family, but Chase was the late-life miracle of octogenarian parents too frail to meddle. The family conglomerate was already safely in his hands. His only wish was that Chase stay out of the headlines. Whom he married didn't matter. Convenience suited me perfectly. I settled into a life of leisure, spa mornings, afternoons gaming, evenings sampling every rooftop bar with Chase. He still called me big sis every other sentence, and the moment his allowance hit his account he forwarded it to mine. I handled every calorie he ate and every thread he wore. 3 years into our marriage my period didn't come. I stared at the double red lines, then beat on Chase's chest in panic. He looked even more lost. Oh no, you're pregnant. What if the baby steals you from me? I'm still a baby myself, I need you 24/7. Another kid means sharing you. My terror morphed into laughter despite myself. Responsible as ever, he dragged me straight to St. Mary's. Fate, in its twisted humor, sat us across from Julian in the OB corridor. He was half carrying a plain, overweight woman who kept scolding him. Useless. You brought home $5,000 this month, how are we supposed to live when the baby comes? Julian's brows knit in irritation, yet he absorbed every insult without a word. An elite red firm litigator reduced to a penniless, henpecked errand boy. Pitiful, and exactly what he deserved.
At the Victory Gala back in the States, the untouchable Victor went down on one knee to slip a shoe onto a girl's foot. The moment the teenager spotted me, her eyes lit up. So you're big sister. No wonder Victor kept hiding you from me. She bustled right up. Sis, you're gorgeous, 32 never looked so 30. I've been married to Victor for 10 years, I never knew he had a little sister. I looked at him. Halfway in the grave and still copying the kids with a side piece. Before we go on, subscribe to this channel and tell us in the comment section where you're tuning in from. I walked to the only empty seat, picked up my chopsticks, and was about to eat. Victor stayed silent. The girl answered first. Sis, maybe it's been so long since you and Victor had sex you think is old. Trust me, he's got more stamina than the boys in my class. I'd been running on an empty stomach all day, but hearing that Victor had even told her we no longer sleep together killed my appetite. And sis, I'm not some man-stealing rival. I'm here to help. You're always away on business, so I keep an eye on Victor for you, no wandering, no messing around. Girls help girls, right? She planted herself on his lap as she spoke. I glanced around the table at our business partners, unable to believe the man everyone calls the untouchable Titan would let a woman sit on him in public. In 10 years of marriage he wouldn't even let me hold his hand at events. I thought he'd push her away. Instead he steadied her waist with careful hands. When Victor noticed my stare, he flicked a look at me. You're in Maisie's seat. Maisie dimpled. Sis, men are tools, don't waste pity on him. Feel sorry for a man and you'll be unlucky for life. Victor didn't contradict her. He indulged her the way he indulged her calling him by his first name. The guests whispered. Come on, Riley and little Miss Hart make a perfect pair, Silver Fox and Sweet Peach. They've got matching faces if you ask me. Miss Hart looks way fresher than Mrs. Sterling. If I were Riley, I'd pick her with my eyes closed. I laid down my chopsticks. I studied the cuddling couple. I think I'm shipping you too. Let's divorce, Victor, I'll gladly step aside. Victor snorted. Luna, divorce me? Could you stand losing all this luxury? When I married him the gap between our status was a canyon. Eleanor's price for letting me through the door was a clean exit if we ever split. Pathetically, I'd thought we would never need that clause. I'd thought I'd married for love. He thinks I married for money. When I said nothing, Victor's smirk turned vicious. Still playing jealous at your age? Take a lesson from Maisie and try being a modern woman. He scooped her up and carried her out without a backward glance. The second they disappeared the guests invented excuses and left. The Victory Gala meant for me now held only an empty banquet hall and me. I called my attorney and told him to draft the papers. I drifted home, so hollow with hunger my stomach cramped. I opened the Sub-Zero, shelves of pastries and junk food. Victor hates sweets. Every room had been rearranged, cutesy cookware in the kitchen, cartoon print sheets in the bedroom, loud floral dresses hanging beside my power suits in the walk-in closet. The air reeked of unfamiliar perfume, traces of another woman everywhere. Housekeeper heard me and came upstairs, startled. Miss Hart, Mrs. Sterling, the master and that lady have been using this suite lately. I yanked open the nightstand drawer. The jade pendant my late mother left me was gone. I never wore it outside for fear of losing it. Every night for 10 years I'd opened that drawer to be sure it was safe. Now it had vanished, and there was only one thief. Furious, I dialed Victor. He rejected call after call. On the 10th, someone finally picked up. "Sis. What, taking your stuff? I told you I'm on your side. I even hung my clothes right next to yours." Her righteous tone twisted my stomach. "You know exactly what you took. Bring it back now." Victor's impatient voice drifted over. "Why bother talking to her? Come back to bed." I raised my volume. "Victor, your mistress took my mother's jade, make her return it. It's just a jade pendant. Quit throwing a tantrum over a kid's prank. Grow up." He hung up. I hit redial, my number was already blocked. The room spun. I blacked out. I woke in Riverdale, acute gastritis. Housekeeper had found me and called 911. The first thing she did was alert Victor. He didn't believe her. "TSK, she drafts an extra for her jealousy drama. Tell her not to bother me unless she's actually dying." 3 days, no word from him. My attorney emailed the divorce agreement, silence. I was checking out when I saw Victor and Maisie downstairs. A gynecologist was congratulating them on their baby. I stood frozen. 10 years of marriage, and I'd never managed to give him a child. Eleanor dragged me to every fertility specialist, and every test said I was fine. The problem was obvious. I'd kept quiet to protect Victor's pride, letting him blame me. Now his teenage girlfriend is pregnant. Absurd. I watched them head to Sterling, touched up my makeup, and followed. Before I reached the executive floor, I heard the staff gushing. "Maisie, you're so generous, and LV for each of us. Way nicer than Luna ever was. You and Riley are the real deal. Someone else just stole your seat first. That pink diamond ring is flawless on you. Even Mrs. Sterling never got that, total one of a kind." Maisie flashed the rock. "No thanks needed, sisters. A man's money is for us to spend." "Maisie, you're amazing, we're so jealous." "Jealous of what? Of being the other woman?" I strode in on my heels. Maisie's face fell. "I call you sis out of respect. I'm here to help, and you call me a mistress? That's low." "Help? A husband stealer thinks she's helping?" I seized her wrist. "A pink diamond ring from De Beers. 10 carats costs at least 10 million. Could you ever afford that yourself?" Maisie yanked her hand back, shameless and righteous. "I've looked after Victor for all these days. A little compensation is only fair. Marital property acquired while we're still married, every cent you took, you'll vomit back." Seeing my tone, Maisie dropped the act. Her face dripped scorn. "No wonder Victor thinks you're old and can't stand the sight of you. You calculate everything. Stop pretending to be some power woman. We've got a name for your type, manly tease." I gave her a cool once-over. Still better than a homewrecker who waves the girl power flag while bedding any man she can. Maisie's face went green with rage, yet none of the people she'd once bankrolled dared utter a syllable. After all, I held their professional life or death in one hand. One word from me and they were fired. Maisie remembered something, cradling her belly. "You're just a barren hen. Even after menopause you couldn't hatch a chick. You're a disgrace to women. I'm not like you. I'm young and fertile." I lifted my hand and slapped her smug face. "Don't flaunt that baby like a royal decree. Listen, cross me and you're still miles out of your league." I stepped into Victor's office. Without looking up, he cooed, "Maisie, how many times have I asked you to knock?" I tossed the divorce papers onto his desk. Only then did he raise his head, expression hardening. "Luna, don't you know you're supposed to knock before entering my office? What a double standard." I had no time to argue. I tapped the agreement. "Victor, sign. I'll walk away penniless, but with one condition: give me back my jade pendant. Or I won't mind a scorched earth fight." When I married Victor, the first had nothing, but I'd spent nearly a decade bleeding on Sterling's front lines. I was no longer the nobody I'd once been. The moment I mentioned the jade, Victor's eyes flickered with guilt. Then, stubborn, he snatched the papers and hurled them back at me. "Luna, there's a limit to jealousy. You're not some 20-something like Maisie. You ought to know the consequences of your actions." Maisie burst in sobbing and buried her head against Victor's chest. "Big sis is mad because you gave me the diamond ring. I don't have to keep it. Victor gazed at her swollen cheek in anguish. Luna, you slapped her over a ring. After all these years as Mrs. Sterling, haven't you gotten everything you wanted? Must you be so petty? I smiled bitterly. 3 years ago a car accident had sent our wedding band flying off my finger. Victor swore he'd replace it with something one of a kind. For 3 years I waited only to see that promised ring sparkling on someone else's hand. Swallow that. Impossible. Since you know I'm the petty type, be smart, sign and we can part friends. Otherwise, my gaze swept their faces. Every humiliation you've served me, I'll collect back tenfold, 100-fold. Maisie lifted her tear-streaked face. I only wanted to help, but sis misunderstood and threw my kindness back at me. Fine, I'm leaving. She dashed out playing the victim. Victor shot me a glare and started after her. Sign first, then hand over my pendant, or I leak everything to the press right now. I waved my phone. I'd been recording from the moment I entered Sterling. That trinket. I gave it to a beggar ages ago. Want it? Dig through the trash. My eyes widened before I could demand details. A scream came from the outer corridor. Someone yelled. Maisie tumbled down the stairs. Victor shoved me aside and rushed out. I crashed into the desk corner, blood streaming down my temple. Half dizzy, I staggered after them and saw Victor scoop Maisie into his arms. She writhed theatrically. Victor, let go. If you keep this up your wife will scream mistress at me again. You're about to be a mother, act like it. If she dares insult you again, I'll divorce her on the spot. I gave a cold laugh. What a match made in cesspool heaven. Luna, what happened to your head? Victor let Maisie wriggle free and stepped toward me, worry flickering in his eyes. Maisie's face flashed venom. She folded her arms. Older women really know their tricks, self-inflicted wounds without batting an eye. I'll never beat that level of calculation. Victor hesitated, about to speak. When Maisie's expression flipped, she clutched her belly. It hurts, Victor. Am I losing the baby? He scooped her up to race to the ER. Sign first. Otherwise tomorrow Sterling Industries cheating scandal hits every headline. Guess how many points the stock drops? Victor ground his teeth. You wouldn't dare. Try me. You might survive it, but your little girlfriend will be hounded by every hashtag. 10 years under the same roof, he knew my threats were never empty. Glancing at Maisie's pale face, Victor finally caved. He scrawled his name across the divorce agreement and flung it in my face. The motion tore my wound. Tears of pain blurred my vision. He looked down at me. Keep throwing your tantrum, Luna. When you come crawling back, don't expect me to care. I glared back, unflinching. Bring my pendant when we file the final papers, or this is far from finished. Maisie's weak voice floated in. You mean that cheap jade? I saw a homeless man who needed help and gave it to him. He needed it more than we ever would. Can't you spare even that much compassion? I stared at them in disbelief. I'd thought Victor's beggar story was a lie. Who gave them the right? Who said they could turn my mother's keepsake into their cheap act of charity? Rage scorched my chest. I lunged to claw at Maisie. Enough. I still have a reputation. Victor shielded her and shoved me hard. I hit the floor, consciousness slipping, watching him carry Maisie away without a backward glance. In the darkness I swore, I, Luna, will devote the rest of my life to making these two bastards pay. Eventually a colleague drove me to Riverdale. Just mild concussion and low blood sugar. I have no relatives in this city. My assistant Ryan handled everything. As soon as I could sit up, I buried myself in work. Luna, here are the partnership invitations that arrived these past few days. Ryan handed me the folders. After a moment he added, you don't have to push yourself like this. Take a breath. Ryan's been with me forever. He's seen every brutal mile. I don't dare rest. I used to chase Victor's pace, never dared stop. To deserve him I not only carried Sterling Industries but spun off a company of my own. And Victor thinks this divorce is just another tantrum. Actually, I'd been exhausted for a long time. In the 3rd year of our marriage, while I was working myself into collapse, he looked for company in another woman's bed. Later, when I made a scene worthy of daytime TV, he promised to come home for good. Only, his patience with me wore thinner every day. Before long he found someone new. Yet he still granted me a scrap of face in public until now. This was the first time I'd seen him spoil a woman so openly. It seemed Maisie was special to him. But no matter what, she had no right to lose my jade pendant. This time she had crossed my absolute bottom line. I would make every one of them pay. In a single night, the headline Sterling Group president caught cheating rocketed to the top of trending topics. Sterling Group faced a PR crisis like never before. I immediately reached out to my contacts inside the company and started poaching business. Over the years, I'd built a long Rolodex. Everyone, eyeing bigger profit, naturally hoped for greener pastures. For a month, I ran myself ragged. Sterling scrambled to do damage control, never noticing the bleeding of business. Meanwhile, Maisie curated her online persona, the darling rich girl who adores other girls. I can't stand seeing any girl heartbroken. Since this man hurt Sis, I'll punish him and spend his money like crazy. Sis is finally free, divorced and out of that hell. I'm so happy for her, but she misunderstands me. My goal was always to help her, never to grab a title. Why can't she see? Sis actually called me the other woman, so unfair. Luckily I have my fam in the comment section. Comments gushed that she was pretty and kind, while I was clueless and ungrateful. Someone doxed me and dumped my info. Netizens launched online harassment across every account I owned. So this is the hag Maisie helped. Unworthy of the sisterhood, revoke her girl card. Die already, you 10-year barren hen. No wonder hubby won't touch you, you'd earn more on a street corner. Seriously, who'd covet your housewife badge? My girl Maisie shines solo, she never wanted your crusty man. Wait, she's the legal wife. Helping doesn't give you license to be a mistress. I watched the few voices defending me get chased off the internet by Maisie's followers. I handed my phone to Ryan for notarization. Every slur in the comment section would be prosecution ammo. I told Sterling's legal department to trace every IP and sue them one by one. As for Maisie, I curved my lips. Her victory lap wouldn't last 3 more days. Maisie, seeing her followers' savage loyalty, felt warm and safe. She hadn't forgotten the slap Luna gave her that night. She turned to find Victor staring at the wedding photo on the master suite wall. She drifted over, face puckered with hurt. Victor, did I make Sis unhappy? Maybe I should just leave. Sis has a temper, I'd never trust her with you, but I still want her to smile. Victor pulled her close. Nonsense. You worry about her happiness and ignore mine? Heartless little thing. I can't help it, I hate seeing girls cry. He tapped her nose. Silly, I'm the one keeping you. Why side with her? Do you think she's your real sister? HMPH. Go coax her back. Ha, coax her? She's not worth it. She throws tantrums morning to night. If she were half as reasonable as you and agreed to play nice, I'd die happy. When he truly refused to fetch Luna, Maisie exhaled, rose on tiptoe, and kissed him. Only after long, breathy minutes did the wet sounds stop. She winked. I have a surprise for you. Then she twirled into the bathroom. Victor stepped onto the balcony, phone in hand, scrolling calls and texts. He had blocked Luna's number for almost a month. She hadn't sent one message or made one call. No matter what she said this time, he wouldn't forgive her easily. Since she'd flung the word divorce so casually, she could damn well stay gone. Better if she never came back. Hubby. The familiar term hit him like a shot of dopamine. He spun around. It was Maisie. She wore Luna's silk nightgown. Through the flimsy fabric her young body glimmered. Soft as water, she murmured, Hubby, the baby's 3 months along, doctor says we're safe. Any other night he'd have pounced like a wolf. Tonight his face was stone. Who told you to wear her things? Who said you could call me that? Maisie's smile froze. Victor, I only thought since Sis hasn't come home, she could feel part of our love. Take it off, now. Maisie opened her mouth to wheedle when a ringtone sliced the air. Victor glanced at the screen and answered instantly. Before I could speak he crowed, Luna's calling to beg. Tell Maisie you're sorry and I'll consider letting you come home. Can't you two act like sisters instead of a catfight? Do you have to make everything ugly? I laughed in disgust. He actually thought I wanted peace. By that logic I'll drag home a guy of my own and you two can be blood brothers. Luna, don't you dare. TSK, Victor, when did you become such a hypocrite? I step out for a reason. 1, you can't satisfy me. 2, you can't give me kids. In our crowd everyone keeps a spare, why should I be different? Shameless. We're done. I'm only reminding you. 3 days, 9 a.m., City Hall. If you don't show, you'll pay. I cut the line and blocked him. Luna, marvelous. Victor snarled, hurling the phone so hard shards scattered. Maisie jumped. He spun on her. Still here? I said change. Trembling, she yanked open the walk-in closet. Victor's pupils shrank. He seized her wrist. Where are Luna's clothes? Ice crawled along Maisie's spine. She'd tossed them, unable to stand the sight, but she stammered, I don't know. Maybe Sis came back for them. Victor looked around. The clay figurine on the dresser, the painting on the wall, the diffuser on the nightstand, every trace of Luna was gone. He felt a sudden, nameless panic. It hit him. He might lose her forever. He barked for the housekeeper. When did my wife come for her things? The housekeeper blinked. Monley returned that night she left for Riverdale. She didn't take anything, she said. Victor's brows crashed together. She really went to Riverdale that night? What exactly did she say? The housekeeper stammered. Madam saw all of Maisie's things in the master suite. She said she wouldn't take anything. She thinks it's filthy. Victor's head snapped toward Maisie. Was this your brilliant idea? You told me to act like the lady of the house. I figured Luna probably wouldn't come back, so I redecorated the way I liked. Before the sentence ended, Victor's hand cracked across her cheek. Actually believe you're the lady of this house? Nobody gets that title except Luna, least of all you. She will come back. And before she does, you'd better restore that room to exactly how it was. Maisie burst into frantic tears. How am I supposed to do that? I threw everything away ages ago. Victor exploded. Get security up here, throw her out. Maisie stared at him, disbelieving. She couldn't understand how the man who'd been whispering love to her minutes ago had turned this cold, this ruthless. She crawled forward and clutched his trouser cuff. Victor, did I do something to upset Luna? I can apologize. Victor kicked her off. You dare say my name? You dare call her Luna? Get lost. Within minutes, she and her shabby pile of belongings were hurled down the front steps. Crushed, she saw Victor's car stop in front of her. Hope flared. Alex. Riley, you've changed your mind, right? I can please you way better than that old woman, and I'm carrying your baby. Please don't send me away. Victor raked his gaze over her. Strip that nightgown off her. With that, the car roared off. The guards tore the silk slip away, leaving Maisie naked and shrieking like a madwoman. No one rushed to baby her now. Outside the Sterling estate she screamed into the night. Luna, I hate you. Inside the car, Victor panicked at the thought of the empty master suite. Luna's scent, her presence, gone. He had to find her, hear her admit the divorce threat was only a ploy for attention. Only then could he breathe. But every place he tried turned up nothing. She wasn't at Sterling. He'd personally approved her resignation. Her old pre-marriage apartment had been surrendered right after the wedding. She had no family left. Where could she go? For the first time, Victor felt blind when it came to Luna. 10 years of marriage, an entire decade, and he realized he knew nothing about her while she could recite his every like and dislike. What had he done? He'd assumed Luna would always stand where he could see her, assumed she would always be there, so he'd taken her for granted. Now he knew he deserved to burn in hell. If he could coax her back, he'd spend the rest of his life making it up to her. Victor created a group chat through mutual friends. He hit voice call. I picked up. Exhaustion soaked his voice. Luna, stop this. Let's make up, okay? The moment the words landed, alarm bells screamed in my head. If he backed out now, we'd have to litigate, and first petitions rarely grant divorce. Just thinking about an endless legal slog made my temples throb. I tried to reason. Did I hear you right? Reconcile? Is your mistress okay with that? She's dying to move in, isn't she? There's no mistress anymore. I don't want her. I only want you. His fake devotion left me speechless. Spare me the nausea. If you don't show, just wait and see. I hung up and left the chat. Ryan set a stack of Sterling documents in front of me. Luna, we've snapped up a trove of minority shares at premium prices. Among all shareholders, you now hold the largest block, absolute control. I smiled, satisfied. The sleepless nights had paid off. Victor still didn't know Sterling Industries was about to change owners. Our company has also lured Sterling's anchor client base. Congratulations, you've hollowed Sterling out. Gratitude and awe shone in Ryan's eyes. Luna, You're incredible. I gave a small, calm smile. All those years grinding on the front lines hadn't been wasted. I could thank every past hardship for forging the ruthless edge I wield now. When polite warnings fall on deaf ears, I bring down the hammer. That night, Victor's childhood friend rang me. Sis, Taylor's wasted and keeps yelling for you. Nobody can touch him, come drag him home, please, don't call me sis. Your sis is Maisie. Don't bother me again. After I hung up, the friend looked helplessly at Victor, who sat nursing a bottle. Other Savir buddies dialed Luna, every call went straight to voicemail. Taylor, sis, blocked us. Victor sprang up and smashed the bottle on the floor. Who told you to contact her? Do you think Victor can't live without her? Silence fell. You could have heard dust settle. Finally, the childhood friend clapped Victor's shoulder. Taylor, you can fool us, but don't fool yourself. The window to win her back is closing. Yeah, we mess around, but we don't let the side chick wave it in our wife's face. And Maisie crossed the line. She splashed their affair all over social media, playing the women support women card while chasing his wallet. Someone pulled up Maisie's latest post for Victor. Her saintly captions couldn't hide the timeline of how she chased him while pretending to empower women. Victor's fury went supernova. That damn woman, this is all her fault. He finally admitted his own blindness. He'd actually seen traces of Luna's old carefree spark in Maisie. He snatched his jacket and stormed out. I'm going to make her pay. The day of our City Hall appointment arrived. I waited out front for ages before Victor showed, haggard and 10 years older under the weight of Sterling's implosion. I tapped my watch. Hurry up, clerks are about to close. With Sterling in crisis, he finally realized my exit had paralyzed the company. Half the staff had walked with me, taking key anchor clients and business along. Sterling was now an empty hull, its rebranding hinging on one word from me. Seeing me, light finally flickered in his eyes. Almost kneeling, he rasped, Luna, I was wrong. I can't live without you, please, no divorce. I glanced at my watch. Today should be Sterling's pitch to the Dysons. Drag your feet and I'll poach them too. The Dysons were one of Sterling's last big accounts. I'd nearly killed myself locking them in. I wasn't ready to relinquish them, and Victor couldn't afford to lose them either. Luna, must you be this heartless? I tilted my head. Heartless? Compared to you, I'm merely catching up. Tears slid from his eyes as he begged, can't we go back to the way we were? On our wedding day we swore we'd stay together forever. I've already driven every distraction out of my life. I'll never see that bitch Maisie again. I answered with a cold laugh, pulled out my phone, and opened Maisie's social feed. She was lounging in one of Victor's villas, flaunting her baby bump selfies, tossing out casual affection, and taking every chance to trash me. When Victor saw the screen, his face drained of color. He stammered, listen, it's not what you think. She's pregnant. I couldn't let my own flesh and blood wander around out there. Once we get back together, you can't give me kids. You can't expect me to go my whole life childless, right? I flashed my watch. The Dysons just touched down. Hurry to City Hall, sign the papers, and I'll have a little surprise for you. Cornered, Victor obeyed. The moment we stepped out of City Hall, I fished 2 fresh medical reports from my bag. One was mine. One was his. My results, perfectly healthy, high probability of natural conception. His insurance sheet, rock-bottom sperm quality, 0 chance of natural conception. Victor stared like lightning had split his personal sky. How is that possible? I climbed into the car. Riley, if you don't believe me, feel free to double-check at Riverdale. Congrats in advance on the honorary uncle job. As we drove off, I admired his ashen reflection in the rearview mirror and curled my lips. Looks like the Dyson partnership is sliding back into my pocket. Ryan glanced back from the driver's seat. Congratulations, Luna. The curtain's only just rising. Asterisk. Victor reached the estate just as Maisie went live, slandering me and steering her followers to hunt me down online. Her viewers seethed, crucifying me in the comment section. Maisie basked in it. Those mindless followers were her loaded gun, ready to fire wherever she pointed. Victor belonged to her now. Soon the title of Mrs. Sterling would be too, and every dollar of the Sterling fortune would flow to her baby. A worthless Luna didn't stand a chance. Her celebration was cut short when Victor grabbed her by the hair and slapped her senseless. You slut. Tell me, whose brat are you carrying? Maisie was too stunned to speak, guilt paralyzing her tongue. Victor read the truth on her face. The mighty CEO of Sterling Industries had been played by a 20-something girl. It's not like that. Riley, I don't know what you're talking about. Fine. If you're confused, let the doctors clarify. He hauled her off for an amnio. Netizens watching the stream exploded. Perfect match, he and that gold digger wife deserve each other. Both are shameless. This streamer walked into a trap those two set. Gross. I'm filing a complaint with their company. Hello. Didn't Maisie cuckold the wife and then cuckold the scumbag too? Maisie's followers swarmed the last commenter, cursing him out. Seconds later, every foul-mouthed follower got served. They'd thought a few insults online were harmless, now they faced lawsuits. Terrified, dozens posted public apologies to reduce their liability, but my legal team let none of them off the hook. The instant Victor held the lab report, he realized how grotesquely he'd miscalculated. He had tossed away the woman who loved him more than life itself for a tramp anyone could have for a smile. An investigator's file landed on his desk. Maisie, the so-called empowered queen, was nothing but a joke. She changed boyfriends weekly, her sex life a revolving door. The fetus in her belly had a father list longer than a CVS receipt, and Victor had won dunce cap first place in the paternity raffle. He didn't force an abortion. He decreed she would drag that bastard fate inside her gut to her grave. The wealth Maisie had banked on dissolved like soap bubbles, and it was only the beginning. Guards watched her day and night. She couldn't live, couldn't die. Victor's men even drove her to the landfill to hunt for the jade pendant I had lost. After so many weeks, it was an impossible task, exactly the torture he wanted. He slammed her face into the trash. You lost my wife's pendant, that's why she divorced me. If you can't find it, rot right here. Maisie sobbed and begged. Victor's heart stayed iron. While she rotted, Victor lost the will to live. The wife who once adored him was gone. The longed-for son wasn't his. His proud family empire had imploded, and creditors hounded him daily. Driven into a corner, he wound up camping outside my building. Who could recognize the ragged beggar as Riverdale's once untouchable prince? He crawled to my feet. Luna, I was wrong. I'll never fixate on having kids again. We could stay a couple, just the two of us, forever. I nearly laughed myself sick. The minute he found out he was sterile, he turned magnanimous. When he thought I was barren, I was the villain of the century. I lowered my shades and twisted the knife. Riley, you should be off enjoying parent heaven. Don't force yourself to slum it in childlessville on my account. Ryan piped up from the front. Luna, the guy can't reach parent heaven, so now he wants back into fortune heaven with you. I giggled behind my hand. Broad daylight and some people are still dreaming. I looked away, acknowledging trash was a waste of oxygen. Drive. The car rolled past without mercy. Victor stumbled after us. Luna, you can't do this to R. A sickening thud and a scream echoed behind us. Ryan glanced at me. Should I stop, Luna? I watched the blur in the side window and slowly shook my head. No point. Whatever happened yesterday died with yesterday. It had nothing to do with me now. Later I saw the headlines. Maisie had lost her mind. After weeks in the landfill she cracked. When she finally escaped she went live, only to be trampled by her own followers. They cursed her for dragging them into lawsuits and draining their wallets. Everyone demanded refunds. She didn't have a cent. Some rabid followers tracked her down in person and took revenge. Word was they beat her until she miscarried. Whether she survived that winter, nobody knows. Thanks for listening to today's story. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate it? If you enjoyed the video, please like and share with friends. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section. Don't forget to subscribe for more gripping tales. See you next time. In the 4th month of IVF treatment, my husband's childhood neighbor posted a maternity shoot. First love, perfect ending, family of 3. In the photo, Chase's hand snuck into the frame, joining hers to shape a heart. The irony, his ring finger still wore the wedding band from our ceremony. I commented, wow, and tacked on a thumbs up emoji. Seconds later Chase called. Mom's idea. She thinks IVF is risky and she hates watching you suffer. When Ellis delivers, we'll simply raise the baby. I snorted, said nothing, and hung up. Before we continue, subscribe and tell us where you're listening from. 3 years of marriage, no baby. Tests pinned the problem on me, blocked fallopian tubes. Treatment fizzled, so the doctor recommended IVF. I'm 30 and I do want a child, so I endure shots every month until my stomach bruises. Just as this cycle finally shows promise, Chase hands me this lovely surprise. No wonder Eleanor had resisted when we discussed IVF. Ellis is an old neighbor. Her folks stayed back in our hometown while she rents a studio downtown. 26, no boyfriend, yet every time she bumps into Chase, her eyes sparkle like sparklers on the 4th. I've been in love before, I can read the signs. But Chase and I were already married, so whatever crush she nursed had to stay in the friend zone. I never imagined she'd agree to bear his child, and that she was already pregnant. When did it even start? My mind buzzed as I sank onto the couch, unable to absorb the blow. The fertility report in my fist felt like a joke, slapping me across the face. Chase came home after dark. He flicked on the light and found me motionless on the sofa. Why sit in the dark? I stared at him for a long beat. When did that baby get conceived? He hesitated. The night you worked late. I'm an accountant. Late-night closings are routine. 3 months ago Hawthorne ordered a full inventory, so I stayed until 2 a.m. When I got back, Chase wasn't home. I rang him. The background pulsed with bass and a woman's soft moan. He claimed he was entertaining clients at a bar's after-party. Exhausted, I believed him. Chase had always been attentive, never reckless. Reality just swung back and sucker-punched me. So that's the night. Chase, once that child arrives, we're finished. You're overthinking. She wants a baby, you can't give me one, so we'll treat it as. Words failed him, irritation flashed across his face. Stop obsessing. I'm 30, I want a kid, she's young, healthy, and willing, where's the downside? Quit being dramatic. I shot to my feet. This is adultery, Chase. If having a child matters so much, divorce me and marry her, make your baby the honest way. What you're doing now is grotesque. You think Ellis will quietly disappear after giving birth? Wake up. She'll march straight into our life waving her baby like a flag. I inhaled sharply. Think hard, because I'm cancelling next month's hormone shots. Chase's face darkened. Fine. There are plenty of women who can get pregnant. He slammed the door. I stood trembling, and when I finally wiped my cheeks, my palm was wet. I'd actually cried over this man. Madeline, when did you sink this low? I dragged in air, clenched my fists, and reminded myself, I'm not the villain here, they are. The moment that child is born, I'll sue him for bigamy and watch him rot behind bars. Once the thought took root, it refused to let go. Chase, you fired the first shot. We met 6 years ago, 3 dating, 3 married. I thought we had a foundation. Once I tripped and skinned my knee, he fussed over the scratch for days. Now I inject hormones until my skin blisters, lose sleep, and shed fistfuls of hair, and he can still roll around with the girl next door. Why should I accept that? I phoned Attorney Reynolds immediately, but his answer made me cry harder. Gathering proof at this stage is hard. Unless Chase admits paternity, the law can't compel a paternity test. To force one, we'd have to stay married, live under one roof, and produce witnesses. The helplessness crushed me. Reynolds advised, file for divorce instead. Proving adultery is simpler. Even if we can't jail him, we can drain his wallet. I pondered that, then asked Reynolds to draft the divorce petition. Evidence. I'd supply it. Composed, I walked into the study and opened Chase's laptop. I'd never snooped before. I trusted him completely. Now necessity erased hesitation. Luck. His desktop password was our anniversary, how poetic. Each time he typed it, did memories flicker, or was it just muscle memory? I scoured the hard drive, nothing. Then I tried his Gmail. Chase hated juggling passwords, so everyone combined our street number with his initials. Convenient. Inside, months of fat charges glared at me. Hotels, department stores, jewelry boutiques over $200,000. His excuses. Garbage. Blinking back tears, I copied everything. Next I launched WhatsApp. The desktop app auto-logged in. The chat thread between him and Ellis stretched for miles. My nails dug crescents into my palms. Ever since the fertility issue surfaced, Chase and I barely spoke. Daily exchange. Home for dinner? No. I blamed his workload and tried to be understanding, yet here he and Ellis were, trading X-rated play-by-plays about positions, sensations, and afterglow, peppered with emojis. Obscene hardly covers it. Disgust was still crawling up my throat when I realized the stranger I'd married was exactly that, a stranger. I don't know which version of him, in all the nights he lay beside me, was ever real. I forced myself to save the evidence, erased every digital fingerprint, then walked out. I'd barely reached the living room when he came home. My heart lurched. I locked both hands around my phone. Chase's face flickered with guilt the moment he saw me. He crossed the room and folded me into his arms. Tears slipped free before I could stop them. "Madeline, I never wanted this," he said. "But you have no idea how hard the pressure's been. Mom and Dad keep telling me to divorce you. I couldn't bring myself to do it. I just couldn't. Ellis and I already agreed once the baby is born, she'll disappear. She's a single pregnant girl. She can't raise a kid alone." My stomach rolled. Before I could answer, the front door rattled. "Chase? You in there?" "Ellis. What could she possibly want at this hour?" The door swung inward and Ellis stumbled inside, cheeks flushed, palms cradling her belly. "Chase, I'm sorry to bother you this late, but my stomach feels weird." Panic seized him. "Where does it hurt?" "Come on, we're going to St. Mary's." "No, Chase, I cut the performance short. If it's nothing, why knock on our door? If you need a ride to the hospital, say so. After all, that baby's still a Brooks." "Chase, take her now. First trimester is tricky. Don't do anything that might shake the pregnancy." Rowan's eyes widened, clearly shocked that I sounded so generous. Chase stared at me like I'd grown a second head. "Babe, go. The first 3 months matter most. Don't jinx it." Chase nodded eagerly and ushered her out. On the threshold, Ellis shot me a look dripping with contempt and triumph. I let out a soft laugh. The house could burn for all I cared, and the cheating husband with it. No amount of smug glaring would erase the word mistress. We'd see whether she still felt like queen once the kid arrived. Outside, Chase scooped her into his arms like some rom-com hero. I lifted my phone, hit record, and followed. In the cab, I told the driver to tail them. If anyone asked, I'd say I was worried. They never made it to St. Mary's. After 20 aimless minutes, they pulled up to the Grandview Hotel instead. I laughed so hard my eyes watered. I dialed Chase. "How is she?" A beat of silence, then "Doctors are just observing." "Great. Observe away." I hung up, sucked in a steadying breath, and rode home. Chase didn't slink back until dawn, exhaustion clinging to him like stale cologne. The mattress dipped, his arm slid around my waist, and nausea slammed into me. "Sweetheart, I'm sorry." She had signs of a threatened miscarriage, so they admitted her for bed rest. "Got it." My flat calm froze him, his arm locked mid-hug. "Don't worry," he added. "Once she's stable, I'll move her to Mom's." "Sure, move her to Eleanor's, the Love Nest Annex." I peeled his hand off, rolled over, and gave up on sleep. I was brushing my teeth when he hustled in, frantic. "Babe, spare me. You chose this road, the script ends here." "Chase, last night, did you actually take her to St. Mary's?" He hesitated, then nodded. "Yes." Panic flashed in his eyes. Fate, it seemed, wasn't finished handing me receipts. Minutes after I got home, Ellis forwarded me a video, proof that her cramps and threatened miscarriage were pure theater. They just wanted excitement. "Chase, you've outdone yourself." I turned to him. "I can't give you a child, and I won't share a man. Let's divorce." He froze, then lunged and clamped my arm. "Who's been feeding you lies? I told you, you're it for me. She's only the incubator. Nothing changes your place in this family." I drew a slow breath, ready to finish, but he cut in, voice steel cold. "I know you're hurting, but forget it. Divorce is off the table." He stormed into the bedroom and slammed the door. I barked out a laugh, still banking on his little harem. My position? The Brooks clan isn't royalty. Where does he get the arrogance? Once, we fit like ledgers and ink, childless, but synced in every other way. That balance sheet was shredded now, replaced by pure liability. I finished dressing and headed for the door. Ellis stepped out opposite me, belly first. "Madeline, I'm so sorry." Chase spent the whole night at the hospital with me. Thrilling, isn't it, playing house with someone else's husband? Enjoy it while it lasts. Her face darkened. "Spare me the sour grapes, barren hen." Slap. My palm left a white print on her cheek. She cupped her face, tears pooling. "Listen, gutter trash," I said. "A homewrecker doesn't get to strut. Keep your tail down or I'll make sure this town forgets your name. I know your hometown address, want me to send flyers?" Village girl trades womb for ring, so romantic. I didn't marry Chase to breed heirs. Only a brain-dead chicken thinks a baby locks down a man. Remember, come near me again and I'll scatter what's left of you in the lake. I lifted my fist, she flinched, shielding her stomach. Smirking, I walked away, straight to Reynolds' associates, and handed attorney Reynolds every screenshot, video, and receipt. He nodded. Plenty to file. His adultery is documented, and the pregnancy proves it. You'll win this. That was all I needed to hear. After double-checking the asset division numbers, I rang Chase at the office. His voice turned cold the instant he recognized mine. Did you threaten her this morning? I already told you Ellis isn't replacing you. Why can't you just leave her alone? Chase, I'm standing downstairs in your office lobby right now. Come down and talk divorce. If you don't, I'm coming straight up, and once I'm up there I can't promise what I'll do. You don't want this turning into a public spectacle, do you? My words left him silent for a few beats, then he sighed. Wait there, I'll be right down. In the cafe around the corner I watched him jog over, a smirk tugging at my lips. So he did have something left to lose. He was afraid I'd storm the office and blow everything up, so he figured cutting the drama short was the safer bet. He dropped into the seat across from me looking sour. I slid the divorce petition forward. The moment he saw the heading he blurted, Madeline, can you quit the theatrics? I shook my head. Chase, you've known me long enough. I told you from the start if you ever stabbed me in the back, I'd turn around and walk away without a second glance. Zero begging, zero groveling. If you won't sign, I'll file suit. After all, Ellis really is pregnant, and the two of you really did check into a hotel. His fists clenched, his spine turned to steel. I gave you a chance, you chose to lie. So, how was the fun at the Grandview last night? His face went livid. You followed me. I wiggled my phone. No need. Your childhood sweetheart keeps me updated. The clips on the screen rattled him. He started scrambling to explain it wasn't what you think. She said the pain had stopped halfway through and insisted we rest at the hotel. So stripping down and sleeping with her was her idea too? Chase's mouth opened, but I cut him off with a wave. Spare me. Just answer, divorce or not. Refuse, and I mass forward this video. Once your co-workers see it, they won't let it slide. Madeline, do you have to torch every bridge? Save the sermon. Sign, or I blow this sky high and nobody's reputation survives. I'm giving you 3 days. After that, don't cry when I stop being polite. I stood to leave, tossed the petition on the table, then turned back as an afterthought struck. And don't try any stunts like dragging my parents into this. If you play dirty on Monday, I'll return the favor on Sunday. I strode out without a second glance. Chase stayed planted in his chair, motionless for the longest time. This time I was leaving, no turning back. As for the man, I had plenty of ways to make him pay. Our combined assets included not just the real estate portfolio and savings but also the gold bullion investment, and every dollar he'd splurged on Ellis, every last cent went onto my spreadsheet. Yet Chase still clung to the fantasy that I was merely jealous. He brushed off my ultimatum. The next day I walked into the house and found both sets of parents parked in the living room. Mom sprang up the second she saw me. Madeline, what on earth are you doing? Everything was fine, why divorce? I glanced at Chase, he couldn't meet my eyes. I smiled. Chase, cat got your tongue. Eleanor chimed in. Madeline, talk it out, why jump straight to divorce? You've been married 3 years without a child, and Chase never held that against you. Right, so you handed him a mistress to conceive for him and expect me to be grateful? Eleanor shot to her feet. Because you're a barren hen. If you can't give the Brooks family an heir, the line dies with you. Like hell, Mom exploded. If my daughter can't conceive, your son can divorce her honorably. Cheating while married and you still claim righteousness? Honey, we're not swallowing this insult, come on, we're marching to his office to see his boss. I refuse to believe justice is dead. And Chase, you dare ask me to play peacemaker? You want my daughter to choke down your half-cooked leftovers? You fool around, drag home some bastard, and expect my girl to raise it, keep dreaming. Dad's palm cracked across Chase's cheek, snapping his head but not quite flooring him. Eleanor shrieked. She lurched forward, then froze as Dad's glare pinned her to the sofa. Claude, always so pompous at brunch, proved to be a paper tiger, he never even twitched. I watched, arms folded. Turns out, trash or not, I was still my parents' precious daughter. They would never let me choke on humiliation or swallow injustice. Remember, Chase, pull another dirty trick and I'll bury you. With that I posted the hotel clip of him and Ellis to the Brooks family WhatsApp group and tagged every last member. Chase panicked. What are you doing? Delete it. Didn't I warn you not to bring my folks into this? Consider this a courtesy heads up. Next time it goes public. I'd burned the bridge, The Brooks clan didn't dare peep. Chase sat on the carpet, face swollen, spirit broken. Madeline, I agree to the divorce. Eleanor howled, divorce? Fine, but she gets nothing. Try me. I'll ruin Chase's name and make sure you can't show your face in this city. I pointed straight at her. Test me and the lawsuit will cost your family even more. Eleanor opened her mouth, but Chase barked, stay out of it. She turned the color of soot. Dad glowered, and the whole room fell mute. Chase pulled out the petition, signed, and looked at me. Madeline, you really feel nothing anymore? Nice gaslight, like I'm the villain here. I patted his shoulder. Should have thought of that before, Jordan. I have standards, you're filthy now. Wire the money ASAP. This house gives me the creeps. I didn't want the property, I wanted cash. My conscience is spotless. Once we split, we settle the ledger down to the penny. Chase said nothing. Eleanor's face was flushed purple, and I didn't spare her another glance. Back when we first married she tried to train me. Chase shielded me twice, so she hated me all the more. When I started IVF she loathed me outright and quietly pushed Ellis at him. I'm petty. While I loved Chase I ignored her stunts, but now that we're done, she's nothing to me. She rates 0 courtesy. 1 month later we held the finalized decree. I used the payout to buy a bright 2-bedroom downtown, 5 minutes from Hawthorne on foot. After work I head to Riverdale evening classes, flower arranging, dance, my days are packed and mine alone. Chase moved fast, Eleanor had him and Ellis signed the marriage license the very next week, but there was no wedding. In Chase's words, Ellis was already showing. Walking down the aisle with a huge belly would announce to everyone that he cheated while married, and that kind of rumor doesn't sound good. Ellis protested, but it made no difference. This time the Brooks family didn't even offer a bridal dowry. We still share plenty of friends, and they told me Eleanor cried poor, claiming I'd taken all the money so there was nothing left for superficial nonsense if they wanted the baby to have a decent life. They did buy Ellis a silver bangle. Her face turned green when she opened the box. After all, when Chase and I got married, jewelry and dowry had been plentiful. Ellis's parents came up from their hometown. The sight almost gave them a stroke, but for the baby's sake they swallowed their anger. On the wedding day itself Ellis sent me a message, something about me being a barren hen who'd die alone. Hard to believe such venom came from a pregnant woman. I'd already let go after the divorce, but if this shameless girl wanted to dance in front of me, I wouldn't be polite. I posted the whole story online and forwarded the file to Chase's boss for good measure. While I was at it, I mailed copies to Ellis's hometown, 1 taxi ride and you've seen the whole place. Within hours her exploits were the talk of the town. People pointed and whispered wherever she went. She sobbed and screamed at Chase. Upstairs heard every word and messaged me, Madeline, your ex's new wife really has no brain. Chase tore into her, said she asked for it. I laughed. Exactly, she knew my temper but insisted on poking the bear. Once we divorced, Chase and I were strangers. Ellis forced her way into my line of fire. I still have the evidence, and she handed it to me herself. How stupid can you get? Word is Chase cursed her till she nearly suffocated, yet she was powerless to fight back. The scandal dinged Chase's career. Upper management decided a man who can't keep his house in order has morality issues, so the promotion went to his rival. Chase came home fuming. They had another blowout, and Ellis's cramps landed her in the hospital. I happened to be there for my own checkup when I saw Ellis clutching Chase's sleeve. You weren't like this before we married. A tiny cramp and you panicked. Now I'm admitted and you're still running off to work. Chase yanked his arm free, face like ice. Enough with the drama. Every twinge is a performance. Weren't you begging me for a hotel quickie while pregnant? And now you're in pain again. If that kid can't be born, fine, abort it. You're not the only woman on earth who can get pregnant. Ellis went white. She caught my mocking stare and her expression curdled. Chase spotted me too and flushed crimson. Madeline. He took an automatic step toward me. Ellis shrieked his name from the wheelchair. Chase halted. I smiled, turned, and left. I'd come for a medical appointment, not to watch her fake spasms. Still, I was curious. The baby couldn't possibly be his. Back when Chase and I married, we'd done fertility screens together. My blocked fallopian tubes were only half the news. I'd hidden his results, low motility, so when I started hormone injections I told him the pills I handed him were fertility vitamins and begged him to keep me company. He swallowed them without question. Now that I was gone, those vitamins were history. Yet somehow, mid-treatment, Ellis got pregnant. Chase may find her tiresome, but he hasn't walked out, he still wants that child delivered. I said nothing. I only hoped he wouldn't live to regret it. Post-divorce Chase rarely crossed my path until Hawthorne's anniversary gala, when several partner firms were invited and his team showed up. I'd treated myself after the split. No more needles, plenty of rest, and my skin had its glow back. A little makeup and I looked radiant. Chase's eyes lit up the moment he saw me. I rolled my eyes, trash everywhere I turn. He approached. "Madeline, I never expected you to look this stunning." I flicked my hair and gave him a bright smile. "No worries, no drugs, no shots, of course I blossom. You, on the other hand, seem to have aged a decade. White hairs already. Don't tell me you've turned into an early bird dad before the kid even arrives." A colleague beside us laughed. "Chase isn't a daddy, he's a henpecked husband." I raised an eyebrow. "You chose the road, crawl it. So when exactly is Junior due? Last time at the hospital you dashed off before I could say hi. All those belly aches, might want to check the genes." Every sentence stabbed. Chase shook his head. "It's fine. Good to hear." I turned to leave. He caught my wrist. "Madeline, can we talk?" Surprised, I followed him to a quiet corner. The instant we sat he unloaded. "Ellis is insane, she scrolls through my phone nightly. If I say 2 words to a female colleague she melts down. I should have never married her. I should have let her have the kid and walked away. Madeline, I regret everything. With you it was never like this. I'm doing great," I cut in. "And I'll do even better. Your choices." "Chase, don't tell me you're sorry." He inhaled, bitter smile glued to the carpet. My eyes stayed flat. He picked the path. There's no U-turn. And I'm not self-loathing enough to take back a man who betrayed me. He opened his mouth just as a shriek came from the doorway. "Chase, you bastard. I knew you still want her." Ellis had stormed in. She seized his arm, wine splashed across his shirt. Ellis jabbed a finger at me. "Have you no shame? Seducing my husband." I spread both hands. "Remember whose turf this is before you speak. Who exactly seduced whom? A piece of trash I tossed aside. If you've recycled it, good for you. Just don't ever question my taste." The words made her sputter with rage and Chase flush crimson. I lifted my gaze to him. "Mr. Brooks, kindly remove your family. This is a public place, save the hysterics for home." Chase bobbed his head in frantic agreement. A senior manager from Hawthorne glanced over, eyebrows knitting, then Chase hauled Ellis out by the arm. "Had enough drama. You came on to me, remember? Madeline is miles better than you. Even divorced, she'll land on her feet. Look at yourself, what a wreck." That tore Ellis wide open. Watching them bicker through the glass, I laughed aloud. The wheel turns. Had Ellis ever imagined a day like this? I tipped my chin, smiling. Ellis caught the look and nearly imploded from sheer fury. Karma on fast forward. If the childhood sweetheart had kept her distance, Chase might still carry a tender memory. But now, seeing each other morning to night, every tiny flaw was magnified into a catastrophe. Keep screaming and soon he'd loathe her. I drew a slow breath. Enough of this circus. It bored me. Chase dragged Ellis back to their car. Word was they fought again that night, so loud it ended with Ellis shoved to the floor and a 7-month preterm delivery. The baby arrived kitten small and went straight to the NICU, the daily bill ticking past 10 grand. Chase was frantic. When Eleanor stormed in and learned it was a boy, Quinn, she cooed until she saw the scrawny preemie and heard the cause, parental brawl. Then she cursed Ellis up and down. Ellis's parents rushed in to find their daughter and hit back. The 2 sets of grandparents shouted the ward down. A roommate filmed the chaos and uploaded it to Riverdale, where it hit the local hot list. Someone recognized the players and forwarded it to me. "Madeline, look, instant karma. Since losing you, Chase is living in hell. So much for his moonwhite love. His choices were no longer my problem." Chase juggled work and NICU, while Ellis quarreled non-stop and the mothers-in-law declared open warfare. Neighbors saw him sit in his car till midnight rather than climb the stairs to the baby. The house rang with shouts. Chase aged a decade overnight. One neighbor told me, "Thank God you jumped ship, this misery would have been yours to bear." I knew it. I sprinted out of that mess the moment I saw their hubris. Pop out a grandkid and all would be well. Yet Ellis's appetite grew with every bite. A baby. She wanted the Brooks fortune too. At 2 a.m. a familiar number lit my phone. "Madeline, I was wrong. Can we start over?" I rolled my eyes. Psycho. Click, blocked. Maybe my silence convinced him. Chase stopped calling. But 1 month later the universe delivered another bombshell. A neighbor pinged me, huge gossip, Chase's kid isn't his. The little guy stayed a month in hospital, caught pneumonia, And routine blood work, the blood types didn't match. Eleanor snapped, ordered a paternity test. Not his child. You know Eleanor's fuse. She exploded in the ward, marched home, yanked Ellis by the hair onto the balcony. Riley, all 90 pounds of postpartum fragility, couldn't take the blows. Eleanor shoved, Ellis flew. She fell 6 stories, clipped a third-floor awning in the rain, and landed on soaked turf. Alive, but high-level paraplegic. Her parents demanded compensation until Eleanor slapped the lab report on their chests. This spawn isn't ours. Attached was the hospital bill, pay up. Ellis had no money, still bedridden herself. Chase became Riverdale's laughingstock, desperate for an heir, only to learn he was the infertile one. Wife gone, fake kid gone. Avery, he'd earned every shard of it. Had you hung on, maybe a baby would have soothed them, the neighbor sighed. But fortune blesses the strong. The Brooks clan cheated the rules, glad you escaped. Exactly. Heaven nudged me out early, call it Ellis's accidental mercy. She now lies in a rehab center. I visited once, neck down paralysis, bedsores blooming while her aide scrolled Instagram. The aide. Hired by Chase, after all, his mother did the pushing and Ellis's family refused cash, they want jail or lifetime care. Ellis spotted me, eyes bloodshot. Madeline, here for a good laugh? I nodded. Here for yours. Straight, no chaser. You strutted, mocked me, dragged Chase to the Grandview for a romp. Did you picture this finale? The wheel spins, reaping follows sowing. This is the bill for betraying a loyal heart. Chase hovered in the doorway, heard every word. His mouth opened, nothing came. Then he pressed his face into his hands and sobbed. I know he weeps. I know he regrets. But you eat the cake you bake. When he was having his fun, he never foresaw despair. Now he can savor a taste of the agony he once served me. Chase, live long, grow old tethered to her. I stepped into sunshine, sky cloudless, spirit soaring. My latest checkup shows my hormones balanced, my blocked fallopian tubes beginning to clear. Anxiety was the true barren ground, peace is fertile soil. My life will blaze with color. Thanks for listening. Rate this tale from 1 to 10. If you liked it, hit like, share, and tell us in the comments. Subscribe for more stories. See you next time.
1 year into the marriage, my billionaire CEO husband and I still slept in separate bedrooms, politeness frozen into ice. I kept wondering whether he had performance anxiety, and was quietly drafting a divorce settlement that would let me walk away with half the sterling fortune and a peaceful retirement. Suddenly, lines of blood-red live commentary floated right in front of my eyes. Foolish girl. Your husband isn't impotent, he's terrified he'll break you. Every night he takes a cold shower while staring at your photo, eyes red from holding back, and you're planning to run off with the money? I can't bear to watch. If wifey won't make a move, hubby's going to implode. Before we continue, please subscribe to this channel and tell us in the comment section where you're tuning in from. Our first wedding anniversary. My billionaire CEO husband, Ethan, and I were still in separate bedrooms. The Sterling Manor was so vast you could hear your own echo. I lay on the huge bed, hugging a pillow, wrestling with a serious philosophical question. Does this count as conjugal widowhood? A year ago, when my family's company was bleeding cash, I'd been offered up as the sacrificial bride to the most powerful man in Riverdale, Ethan. Rumor called him ruthless, allergic to women, a walking iceberg in a human money press. On our wedding night he'd studied me with eyes as deep as an ancient well and asked only one thing, "Are you afraid of me?" I'd trembled like a chick and nodded. Then he'd moved to his private study, 365 days ago. Except for our public love act, we'd spoken fewer than 100 private sentences. I sighed, fished my phone from the nightstand, and opened the calculator. 1% of Sterling Group's market cap. How many zeros was that? Divorce. I must divorce. Take the fortune, keep 100 pool boys, party every night and reclaim my lost youth. While I was lost in that blissful future, a thick, blood-red line of text drifted across my vision. Idiot! Host, you magnificent idiot! I shot upright and looked around in terror. The room was empty. Hallucination? Have I been crunching numbers too late? I rubbed my eyes and lay back, only for more creepy red commentary to scroll past. LMAO, she thinks the CEO is frigid and wants to flee. Girl, you have no clue what your husband is packing. He hasn't touched you because he's afraid he'd wreck that petite body on the wedding night. Every night he takes a cold shower while watching your surveillance feed, eyes scarlet for restraint, and you're plotting to bolt with the cash? Hey, it's a photo, not surveillance. Don't spread rumors. Though yeah, he'd totally do that. My pupils earthquaked. Surveillance? Photos? Cold showers? What raunchy nonsense. I stared at the endless stream of comments, heart hammering. What's happening? Is there a screen inside my brain? The host can finally see us. So touching. Don't be scared, wifey. We're viewers from a higher dimension. We can see through your eyes and monitor the male lead's real state. Think of us as your built-in cheat code. Cheat code? I eyed the so-called audience, half believing. So you're saying Ethan isn't impotent? Pfft, sorry, couldn't hold it. Impotent? The man is a walking stud. The way he reins himself in kills me. Every time I see that leash on a tiger look, I want to kick the door in and shove wifey into his arms. He endures explosion-level desire just to protect you, and you think he's sick and plan to run. Tragedy of the century. I was stunned. Ethan? The man who glanced at me like it was a board meeting agenda? Who wore immaculate suits buttoned to the throat and radiated back off? Secretly pining for me, so miserably? Impossible, absolutely impossible. This plot is insane. The comments seemed to read my mind. Don't buy it? Sneak to his private study and see for yourself. Tip, he just finished a transnational call and is staring at your photo right now. Bet you a bag of spicy sticks. His gaze is literally liquefying. Leak gaze? My cheeks combusted. Go, or don't go. If it was true, the image alone steamed my face. If it was false? Running to his study at midnight would prove I'd lost my mind. More bulletins scrolled. Go! Hesitation equals defeat. Fortune favors the bold. Claim him tonight. Hurry and verify whether the legendary stallion waist is real. St. Stallion waist? My face detonated. In the end, curiosity beat social suicide. I inhaled, slunk out of bed, left my fluffy slippers behind, and tiptoed across the cold floor toward the forbidden zone, his private study. The door stood ajar, spilling warm light. Holding my breath, I pressed my eye to the crack. Ethan sat at the massive desk, back toward me. Black silk robe, belt loosely knotted, bearing the graceful column of his neck in a slice of sculpted back. Broad shoulders, narrow waist, long legs crossed, even seated, the proportions screamed excess. I'd tap that back view all day. Wifey, check his laptop screen. Following the cue, I tilted until I could see. It wasn't spreadsheets or contracts filling the monitor. It was a zoomed-in photo of me. At some gala, head bowed over a mini cake, cream smearing my lip while I blissfully chewed. A candid. When had he even taken it? Then Ethan moved. He lifted a long finger and, millimeters above the glass, traced the smear of virtual cream on my lips. The gesture was unbearably slow, reverent. After that came a faint, strangled sigh, packed with loss, longing, and pain. Ah, he traced it. Traced the screen. Still just pixels, yet it's dripping with lust. Save me, his Adam's apple bobbed. He's holding back so hard it hurts. CEO inner monologue, my Skylar, when will you smile at me like that? When can I wipe the cream off your lips myself? My heart felt clenched by an invisible fist, breathing stalled. The bulletins had spoken truth. The man whose default temperature was sub-zero was alone at midnight, mooning over my photo like a worshipper, and looking breakable. What did I overlook this entire year? While I spiraled, my foot slipped. My kneecap banged the door, *thud star. In the hush it sounded like a gunshot. Ethan stiffened, then snapped his head around, predator eyes nailing the doorway. Who's there? The voice was arctic, laced with irritation at being disturbed. I nearly bolted. Run? Are you nuts? March in. Say you're sleepwalking. Say you brought milk. Anything. Just tell him you missed your hubby. Missed my hubby, yeah, right. Blank brain, reflexes in charge. I shoved the door, rubbed my eyes, and spoke in a drowsy slur, sweetheart. I'm thirsty. I wanted to bite my tongue off. Epic excuse, full marks. ROTFLMAO. Look at him, he's frozen. Peeking through my lashes, I watched perfect marble features turn to incredulity. Behind him the laptop still glowed on my cream lip selfie. The air crystallized. 1 second. 2 seconds. Slam, he snapped the laptop shut so hard the rush of air fluttered my hair. Rising, he stalked toward me, tall frame a walking eclipse. Instinctively I stepped back. Don't retreat. Pounce. He's coming. Is he gonna kiss her? He stopped 1 pace away. I had to Ellis to glimpse his face. Backlit, jawline clenched so tight it twitched. Thirsty? His baritone rasped. Kitchen's downstairs. Translation: what are you doing in my private study? I. Plant emoji, densest organism on earth. He panicked. He's terrified he'll lose control. Wifey, keep flirting, ask if he wants a drink too. Cornered, I played on. I caught the sleeve of his robe between 2 fingers and gave a tiny shake. But, it's dark. I'm scared. My voice came out syrupy enough to coat pancakes. Goosebumps rose on my own arms. Ethan went rigid. I sensed his fingers curling inside the sleeve. She touched him. Touchdown. CEO's CPU is overheating, pulse 180 guaranteed. Look at his fist. Wants to grab her but doesn't dare, look at the tremble lol. I glanced down, his other hand was balled, veins bulging as if anchoring him to the planet. So it was true. He wasn't indifferent, just Herculean at restraint. A wicked thrill bubbled up. Time to stoke the fire. Sweetheart, I lifted my lashes, voice honey dripping, come with me, okay? His inhale hitched, I clearly heard the gulp. Game over, shield integrity failing, any second now the beast breaks free. Switch from frost to feral, I braced, meeting his gaze. Once glacial irises now hosted twin infernos, heat nearly swallowing me whole. He stared like a cage-crazed wolf on the verge of snapping the bars. Just when I thought he'd vault the line, a woman's voice drifted in. Ethan, I stewed bird nest soup for you, are you? Lillian stood in the doorway, tray in hand, smile solidifying into ice the instant she saw me clutching Ethan's sleeve. Lillian, Ethan's childhood sweetheart, is now his chief executive assistant. She's also the true heroine who, in the original novel, replaced me as Mrs. Sterling. Oh snap, the White Lotus has arrived. High energy alert. Classic So Discord scene loading. She's totally about to say, Skylar, what are you doing here? Am I interrupting Ethan's work? Sure enough, Lillian rearranges her expression in record time, putting on a look of gentle concern. Oh, Skylar, what are you doing here? You're not disturbing Ethan while he's working, are you? He's very focused and hates to be interrupted. Polite on the surface, the words are a declaration of ownership and a subtle jab at my manners. Old me would have awkwardly let go of Ethan's arm. But now, armed with the live commentary cheat codes, there's no way I'm letting her win. Check out that little scheme, her face is an open book. Don't wimp out, wifey. Fire back, I'm in my husband's study, what's it to you? No, no, fight magic with magic. Mimic the White Lotus tone. I roll my eyes and a plan clicks. Instead of letting go, I snuggle even closer, half my body pressed against Ethan. He turns to stone beneath me. Ignoring his stiffness, I tilt my head and give Lillian an apologetic, slightly ditzy smile. Emery, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt my husband. I put extra syrup on the word husband. I just had a nightmare and got scared, so I came looking for him. I even pout for dramatic effect and peek at Ethan from the corner of my eye. Beautiful. Retreat to advance, flawless. The word husband is a critical hit. Look at Lillian, she's green. Lillian's complexion does look nauseous, but she keeps smiling. I see. My mistake. Well. Ethan, I'll leave the bird nest soup here. Drink it while it's hot. She moves to set the tray on the side table. Here comes the follow-up. She's gonna accidentally spill the soup on the host, then act all flustered so Ethan thinks you're petty and dramatic. Warning sirens blare in my head. The instant she angles the tray toward me, I yelp and fling myself into Ethan's arms. Honey, I'm scared. The scalding bird nest soup splashes, every last drop, onto Ethan's outrageously expensive silk robe. His chest is rock hard and burning. Through the thin fabric I feel his muscles lock and his heart thunder. His arms reflexively clamp around my waist, shielding me. A crisp cedar scent, mixed with his blazing heat, cocoons me. My face bursts into flames hotter than the soup. Holy cow! Lightning reflexes, wifey. She dodged and initiated a love dive. Ethan, thanks for the assist. Lillian. Lillian stands frozen, empty bowl in hand, face bloodless. Ethan. I didn't mean to. Ethan doesn't even glance her way. All his attention is on the trembling bundle in his arms. He dips his head, dark eyes bottomless, voice tight with fear. Did it burn you? I shake my head against his chest, voice muffled. No, you blocked it. He exhales like a man reprieved, yet his arms cinch tighter. When he lifts his gaze to Lillian, the softness is gone, replaced by Arctic steel. Get out. The words are quiet, edged in ice. Tears swim in Lillian's eyes. Ethan, really, I only wanted. I set out. He cuts her dead, tone sub-zero. And don't call me Ethan again. Mrs. Sterling doesn't like it. OMG. Protective hubby mode activated. Mrs. Sterling doesn't like it, I'm screaming. You heard the man. Sam, scram. Cheeks blotched red and white, Lillian bites her lip, whirls away, and flees down the hall, muffled sobs trailing behind. It's just Ethan and me now. And his robe, soaked and plastered to his chest. The air shifts, thick and electric. I finally realize I'm still glued to him and try to step back. The arm around my waist doesn't budge. Don't move, he growls, low and commanding. I freeze. Don't move? What's he planning? Is he gonna kiss her? Is he? At this tension level, a kiss is legally required. I gulp, heart ricocheting in my chest. Ethan lowers his head until I can count every long, thick lash and see the dark current swirling in his eyes. My lids flutter shut. No kiss. Instead, a ragged whisper lands on my hair. The floor's cold, put on shoes. Me? I open my eyes to find him staring at my bare feet. Dude. I unzipped for shoe duty. Ethan, are you even male? Worried about cold feet right now? He's scared one kiss would snap his control and send her running. I'm torn between laughter and despair. How much self-restraint can one man stockpile? He releases me, pulls my fluffy slippers from the shoe cabinet, squats, and sets them at my feet. His hand lifts to guide my ankle, then jerks back as if my skin is molten. LOL, he won't even touch her foot. Ruthless CEO turned blushing schoolboy, I'm dead. Wifey, thrust that foot at him, do it. Bad idea sparkles in my brain. I wiggle my toes, brushing his knuckles with my big toe. Ethan jolts like he's been tasered. He snaps upright, eyes ablaze, breathing ragged. Skylar! It's half warning, half plea. He's losing it. Play with fire, girl, I'm here for it. His ears, look! Tomato red. Victory bubbles inside me. Teasing this iceberg is officially my new hobby. I slip the slippers on slowly, stand, and poke the wet fabric clinging to his chest. You're soaked, I say. A rough grunt, muscles coil tighter. You'll catch cold. I tilt my head, all innocence. Let me take it off for you. The room combusts. Comments explode. Damn, wifey's making her move. Is this still free to air? Ethan, hold the line, actually, don't. He's granite, eyes volcanic, disbelief, hunger, war. Do you know what you're saying? Horse, scraped raw. Sure. I blink, hook a finger under his loosened belt. Let me help. One flick and the sash surrenders. The robe slides open, revealing carved pecs and washboard abs. Water droplets race over ridges, disappearing beneath the low tie of pajama pants. Ahab alert! That V-line, send help. He's cooked, totally cooked. My face could fry eggs. Even with commentary buffering, the live view is overwhelming. Ethan's breath shatters. He seizes my wrist in a steel grip. Skylar! A lion's snarl, veins throbbing at his temples. Stop pushing. His stare is feral, ready to devour. I shrink, bravado flickering. Don't chicken out, he's a paper tiger. The louder the roar, the deeper the love. Finish him, confess you like him back. Admit I like him? We just graduated from to foreplay, speed of light. While I hesitate, Ethan's phone blares. The spell snaps, he spins away, spine rigid. Yes? He barks, still panting, voice iciest winter. I watch the broad back rise and fall. Seriously? Who's the mood killer? That's the Sterling Estate, Eleanor incoming. Eleanor, Grandma Dragon. In the source novel she loathes the pretty but hollow bride and engineers multiple divorces. I understand. He ends the call, Arctic composure slammed back into place. Robe retied, face a glacier. Grandmother wants us at the estate tomorrow. Okay. My stomach dips. Sleep early. 3 clipped words, then the bathroom door shuts and the cold shower starts. Cold shower round 2, poor dude. The wife's last hit was brutal, our CEO almost short-circuited. I feel for our DPS going nuclear while the enemy turret still stands. I stared at the firmly shut bathroom door, my heart a tangle of flavors. Tonight's probing raid had basically dropped epic loot. I'd not only verified the live commentary was real, I'd watched the iceberg totter on the edge of total meltdown. But Eleanor's summons hit like a bucket of ice water, snapping me awake at once. Tomorrow's home-men banquet would be no cakewalk. Don't be scared, wifey, we've got your back. Sam will definitely tag along tomorrow, ready to cry witch in front of the old lady. When the soldiers come we send a general, when the flood hits we build a dam. We'll live stream her inner soap for you. Watching those noisy messages roll, my unease thinned out. With a squad of voice throwers and cheat engines behind me, going back to the old mansion suddenly felt less terrifying. I even, sort of looked forward to it. Looked forward to seeing Ethan's face the instant I ripped Lillian's schemes open in front of him. The next day, in the car to the Sterling Estate, Ethan and I sat side by side in the back, a whole DMZ of air between us. He stared straight ahead, profile cut from chilled steel, radiating a force field of keep out. If I hadn't seen him lose control last night, I'd have sworn again he felt nothing for me. TSK, back to ice mode. He's definitely rewinding her tease from last night, inner tsunami warning. Peeking at his mental script, whoa, Skylar's dress today is killer, wanna yank her close and kiss her stupid. Me, I glanced down at my champagne knee-length dress and felt my cheeks ignite. Still thinking, Grandma's gonna go for her throat, how do I shield her without looking obvious? Save me, how is this CEO so pure? If you love her, let her know, man. I sneaked a peek and collided with his gaze. Dark, deep, laced with a thread of Alex I almost missed. He jerked his eyes away, cleared his throat, voice wooden, Grandma has a temper. Don't take what she says to heart. A preemptive vaccination? Warmth trickled through me, I nodded. I know. Soon the car rolled through the gates of the Sterling Estate. A stately Chinese courtyard, old money grandeur in every beam. We stepped out and butler greeted us. Young master, young madam, the madam and Morgan are waiting in the great room. Sam was indeed here. Here we go, arena opens. She's already recolored the story for Grandma, now she baits the hook. I threaded my arm through Ethan's, inhaled, and walked in. In the great room an old lady in a dark red cheapao, hair silvered but spine forged of chromium, occupied the main chair, no anchor needed for awe. The sterling anchor, Eleanor. Sam perched at her feet, dutifully kneading her legs. The instant we entered she rose, smile immaculate, triumph tucked in the corner of her eyes. Ethan, Skylar, you're here. Eleanor lifted one eyelid, scanned me like an X-ray, zeroed in on my hand curled around Ethan's arm, and snorted. So you remember the way home, Grandma? Ethan inclined his head half an inch, shifting to shield me. Good afternoon, Grandma. I chirped obediently. Humph. She raised her teacup, blew aside the foam. Save the title. A sterling daughter-in-law does not skitter to a man's study in pajamas at midnight and drench her husband with scalding bird nest soup. The air froze solid. Sam stood aside, eyes demurely down, the perfect I'm just a messenger White Lotus. Called it, tattle script activated. With talent like that she should be writing novels. Wife, stay cool, deliver the lines we fed you. I sneered inwardly, layered my face with the exact recipe of grievance and panic, stepped forward, and let go of Ethan. My eyes reddened. Grandma, I'm so sorry, it's all my fault. My sudden confession stunned the room. Ethan's brows gathered. He started to speak but I cut him off with a look. Even Eleanor blinked, she'd braced for denial. You admit it? Yes, I choked, nodding vigorously. I was careless. I let Emery carry the soup, and when it spilled my husband got burned. I never mentioned Sam's slip, only my own carelessness. Brilliant. Confess first, seize the moral high ground. Sam's face? That's not in my script. Sam panicked, blurted, Madam, it's not your fault, I lost my grip. It's your fault. I cried, tears on cue. Emery, I know you didn't mean it, but why didn't you tell me your wrist was still sprained? If I'd known, how could I let you carry something so hot? I rushed over and seized her wrist. Look, it's still swollen, it's all my fault for being so oblivious. OMG, counter kill, lethal. Flips the blame and slaps her with working while injured. Sam's brain, since when is my wrist sprained? Sam went parchment white, tried to yank free, I clamped on. Every gaze pinned her injured wrist. Eleanor's eyes narrowed to blades. Ethan's stare iced over. Sprained wrist? He demanded, voice sub-zero. Explain. Sam stammered, drowning. No, Ethan, Still denying? I clutched her hand, face a mask of anguish. Emery, dedication is admirable, but not at the cost of your health. Last night your grip failed, didn't it? If Ethan hadn't shielded me, I'd be the one blistered. 3 info nukes. 1. Sam worked hurt. 2. That caused the spill. 3. Ethan took the burn for me. All liability peeled off me, plus a bonus PDA. Wife 666. Give this woman an Oscar. She's checkmated, admit no injury and she purposely splashed soup, admit injury and she concealed it. Dead either way, ha ha ha. Eleanor's expression could have cracked granite. She wasn't born yesterday, the stink of skiing reeked. She flicked a glacial glance at the faint red patch on Ethan's chest. Lillian, she intoned, voice stripped of warmth, since you're injured, take leave and recuperate. Translation, exile from Sterling Power Central. Color drained from Sam's face, she looked at Ethan, pleading. Grandmother. Ethan, he didn't spare her a flicker. Instead he pulled my hand, inspected it, murmured, why so cold? He enclosed my icy fingers in his warm palm, casual intimacy on full display, final spike through Sam's heart. She staggered, tears gushing, and ran. War without gunpowder, flawless victory. So satisfying. Slap the White Lotus, swift, precise, ruthless. Check his eyes, he's thinking, my wife is magnificent. Eleanor studied our linked hands, expression softening a micron. Enough drama. Since you're here, stay for lunch. She thumped her cane and ascended the stairs alone. Only Ethan and I remained. I tried to retract my hand. Curtain, time to break character. He held tighter. Acting? He asked low, eyes glinting Alex. Last night, was that acting too? Last night. Say no. Tell him it was real. Hesitate and he'll sprint for the cold shower. Of course not. I blurted, Cameron, meeting his gaze. Last night, right now, it's all real. His breath hitched. Pressure around my fingers increased. Real, as in you want to undress me? He rasped, lids heavy. My face combusted. Was he still cataloging that? Real, as in I want us to build a life, I whispered, dodging. He studied me, seas of emotion roiling, then swallowed hard and simply murmured, But his hand never let go. At lunch Eleanor remained frosty but fired no new rounds. Afterward she summoned Ethan to his private study for a one-on-one. I wandered the Sterling Manor gardens, the commentary bubbled back up. The crones brainwashing him, divorce Skylar, marry Sam. Relax, he won't bite. Hey wifey, bombshell scoop. Ethan's billfold holds your snapshot. I froze mid-step. For real? Cross our hearts. It's your mugshot ID, the adorably ugly one. He carries it everywhere. Treasure level. My heart hiccuped. That ID photo I thought looked like a wanted poster? He keeps it in his wallet? A fizzy, sweet-sour swirl erupted inside. Wifey, wanna see with your own eyes? Yes. Chance. He's coming downstairs, manufacture a beautiful accident. I looked up, Ethan was descending from the second-floor terrace. Manufacture how? Pretend you twisted your ankle. Fall into his arms, then accidentally knock his billfold out. Hurry, he's almost here. Heart hammering, I braced myself, aimed my trajectory, and let my ankle buckle. Ah. Eyes shut, I pitched forward like a missile seeking its target. Instead of the expected granite chest, I landed in a warm, steady cradle. Ethan caught me perfectly. I inhaled the cedar scent rolling off him, felt his breathing turn jagged. What happened? Anxiety colored his voice. My ankle, I whimpered, scrunching my face in mock agony. Performance grade, A+. Now, wallet strike. While moaning, I squirmed just enough for my elbow to connect with the inner breast pocket of his jacket. Click. A black leather billfold landed on the grass. We did it! Quick, before he realizes, open it. I wriggled, trying to squirm out of his arms, but he only pulled me tighter. Stay still, let me look. Without another word he scooped me up in a bridal carry. Me. Holy crap, bridal carry. I'm dead, such alpha energy. Her face is as red as a tomato lol. My brain short-circuited, I didn't know where to put my hands or feet, so I stiffly hooked my arms around his neck. His arms were solid, his stride steady, he didn't strain at all. I could feel the scorching heat of his chest, the strong, steady thud of his heart. He carried me to a nearby bench and set me down with care. Then he crouched, slipped off my stiletto, and cradled my ankle. His palm burned, the skin along my ankle tingled. Does it hurt here? He asked, pressing lightly. I mumbled, eyes fixed on the billfold lying in the grass. Go pick it up. Ethan didn't even glance that way. He focused on my ankle, fingers long and sure yet gentle. I'm dying, wallet. Your wallet, bro. He saw it, he just doesn't dare look, he's scared she'll discover the secret inside. Silly man. Thinking fast, I pointed. Oh, honey, your billfold fell. Ethan's fingers paused. He followed my finger, and for a split second his expression flickered. He said flatly, making no move to retrieve it. Aren't you going to get it? What if it goes missing? I pressed. He lifted his gaze, his eyes were complicated. It won't. He's rattled, totally rattled. He'd rather lose the wallet than let her peek. I rolled my eyes and decided to act myself. Bracing on the bench, I started to stand. I'll grab it for you. Don't move. He pinned me down, voice absolute. Then, under my watch, he stood, strolled over, snatched the billfold without looking, and shoved it straight back into his pocket, one smooth motion, zero chance for me to intercept. Mission failed. This guy's guard is insane. No worries, wifey, next time. I deflated, and a real throb pulsed through my ankle. Seems I'd actually twisted it. Ow, I hissed. Hurts? He crouched again, brows knitted. I'm taking you to St. Camillus. It's fine, just a twist. Ice and rest. No. He scooped me up once more and stalked toward the parking lot. I can walk. Shut up. He carried me across the entire Sterling Manor Gardens while staff gaped like fish. I buried my face in his shirt, certain I'd never live this down. Embarrassed? He's claiming you. CEO Sterling telling the world, I spoil what's mine. So sweet, this possessiveness is killer. He bundled me into the car, whisked me to St. Camillus, got an x-ray, iced the ankle, staying glued to my side the whole time. Anyone would think my leg was broken. The doctor called it a mild sprain, rest a few days. Night had fallen by the time we left. On the ride back I leaned against the window, watching Riverdale's neon streak past, everything feeling surreal. In a single day Ethan and I had rocketed to whatever this was. All thanks to those magical live commentaries. As I pondered, he suddenly spoke. Skylar. No more acting in front of me. My heart lurched. Had he noticed? Tell me what you want. Money, connections, anything. He misunderstood. He thinks today was a hustle for benefits. Blockhead, she's trying to capture you. I felt both wronged and amused. This man was an emotional brick. I turned, meeting his eyes. And if what I want is you? If what I want is you? The air inside the car solidified. Ethan's knuckles whitened on the wheel. Tires shrieked as he braked at the curb. He twisted toward me, stared turbulent. What did you say? His voice cracked. Direct hit. Wifey's alpha mode. Nuke level line, his CPU fried. Look at that face, shock, disbelief, plus ecstasy. His gaze pinned me, goosebumps rose, but there was no taking it back. I lifted my chin. I want you. Not your money, not the perks of being Mrs. Sterling, just you, Ethan. Silence. Only our ragged breathing filled the space. His eyes were a storm, wild hope, doubt, struggle, and something fragile. Like a wanderer spotting an oasis after too long in the desert, terrified it's a mirage. Why? He rasped. A year ago you were scared of me, because back then I only knew the rumors, cold, ruthless, unreachable. Of course I was scared. And now? Now, I smiled, I know volcanoes hide beneath icebergs. My gaze drifted to his tense mouth, meaning hung in the air. His inhale hitched, flames burst free in his eyes. He leaned in, towering, the scent of him swallowing me. Skylar, he bit out, do you realize you're playing with fire? I'm not playing. I lifted my face. I'm dead serious. Sparks crackled between us. Just when I thought he'd kiss me, he stopped a breath away. Forehead to forehead, his ragged exhale fanned my skin, veins corded at his temples, lashes trembling with restraint. Not enough, he rasped. You don't know how bad, how obsessive, how Alex I can be. I'm terrified I'll scare you, hurt you. Ugh, he still can't. He loves so humbly he thinks he's unworthy. Idiot, he has no idea how amazing he is. His raw confession clenched my heart. All this distance had been armor, not rejection. He saw himself as a beast, me as fragile glass, so he built a wall to protect me. Go on, hug him. He needs it so badly. I slid my arms around his neck and pulled him closer. I'm not afraid. I brushed his ear. And I'm no porcelain doll. Ethan, give me a chance, give us a chance. Let's start over, okay? His body locked. Jamie, was that a hot drop on my neck? A tear? Before I could look he crushed me to his chest, as though to fuse me to his bones. Okay. One word, carrying every ounce of yearning he'd caged for a year. Back at the manor the air had shifted. He still deposited me in my bedroom, but at the door he paused. Rest that ankle. He turned, stopped. Skylar. Yeah, good night, good night. Watching him head for his private study, I grinned like a fool. Still separate bedrooms, but vibes totally different. From icy courtesy to sizzling tension in one day. Go wifey, master bedroom next. Lying back, I relived it all, floating. I grabbed my phone to text BFF but found dozens from her already. Skylar! Check trending, Lillian that witch. My stomach dipped. I opened Weibo. Top of the feed, hashtag Sterling CEO assistant Lillian works despite sprain hashtag. Inside, Lillian at St. Camillus, wrist bandaged, captioned via her alt account, just a minor twist, yet someone claims I did it on purpose and wants me benched. The world hates diligent workers. Bots and clueless netizens pitted her and slammed Mrs. Sterling as vicious and jealous. Damn White Lotus pulling strings again. She's playing victim to wreck your rep and force a divorce. Don't worry, we have receipts. Then a banner shot across the comment section. Rush to the study, Ethan's on the phone handling it. He's ready to declare war on the world for you. Heart hammering, I hobbled to the study. The door stood ajar. I froze at the threshold at the sound of Ethan's glacial voice. 30 minutes. I want that headline and that account gone. Find out which outlet took the photo, which hospital leaked info. By sunrise I don't want them employed anywhere. Reason? A cold laugh dripped with annihilating obsession. They upset my wife. Is that reason enough? They upset my wife. Is that reason enough? The words, tyrannical, possessive, absolute, slammed into my chest. I stood rooted, blood icing over. So this was the bad and Alex he'd warned about? For me, without asking why or caring about fallout, he would erase anyone who'd annoyed me. This wasn't obsession. It was the highest, most exclusive form of love in the world, reserved solely for me. Ah! I'm dead. You've upset my wife. What kind of god-level line is that? This is apex predator love. No logic, only bias. Wifey! What are you waiting for? Storm in there. It was as if I'd been bewitched. I pushed the door open. Ethan stood at the floor-to-ceiling window, one hand in his pocket, the other holding his phone. Moonlight carved the cold, sharp lines of his profile. Hearing the noise, he turned. The instant he saw me he ended the call. The savagery in his eyes melted into panic. Why are you up? Does your foot still hurt? He strode toward me. I didn't answer. I only looked at him and walked, step by step, closer. Limping, but unwavering. Skylar? Sensing something off, he stopped, brows knitting tight. I halted in front of him. Ellis, meeting the depths of his eyes. Ethan, I heard every word you just said. His body froze, a flicker of fluster shot through his gaze, like a kid caught red-handed. Do you think, I cut in softly, that the way you are is? Alex? He pressed his lips shut, saying nothing, but the clenched line of his jaw said it all. I smiled. I lifted both arms, circled his waist, and pressed my cheek to his burning chest. Not Alex at all. I felt it clearly, the instant I held him, his rigid frame shivered. I only feel safe. Ethan, I don't want you restraining, don't want you enduring. I tipped my head, looked straight into his shaking eyes, and enunciated every word. I want you, your truest self. Now, hold me. Those 3 words were the key that snapped the last lock. The final barricade called reason in Ethan's eyes collapsed. The next second he cupped the back of my head and crushed his mouth to mine, a kiss that blotted out the sky. It wasn't tender. It was a year and more of looting, of conquest, of craving gone berserk. He pried my lips apart, stormed every inch, gave me no space to breathe. The scent of cedar mixed with the flavor that was only him, swallowing me whole. My mind blanked. I could only cling to him and weather the hurricane. I don't know how much time passed before he pulled back a fraction, forehead glued to mine, both of us gasping. The tails of his eyes were red, pupils blazing wildfire. Skylar, he rasped, voice thick, you little liar. You're obviously more Alex. He chuckled low, the sound indecently sexy. Then he bent and scooped me into his arms. This time he didn't head for my bedroom. He headed for the master suite, the real bridal chamber that belonged to us both. Ah! The main feature starts now. I've waited a whole year for this. Lock them in. I've swallowed the key. He laid me gently on the vast bed, his tall frame followed, caging me. Back out now and you still can, he said, eyes drenched in lust, giving me one last choice. I smiled, hooked his neck, and initiated the kiss myself. I never regret. Outside, the bashful moon slid behind a cloud. The night stretched, long, so long. The iceberg thawed completely, the volcano erupted in full. I finally learned, firsthand, what the live commentary meant by "you have no idea what your husband is capable of." I woke the next morning to a dull, sweet ache. The instant I opened my eyes I met a pair of smiling, bottomless pupils. Ethan lay on his side, head propped on one hand, watching me without blinking. Morning light filtered through the curtain crack, gilding his handsome face in soft gold. Gone was the usual frost and self-restraint. Right now he was languid, sated, a lion who'd feasted. "Morning," he said, voice husky with sleep, ridiculously sexy. My face combusted. Last night's frantic, out-of-control scenes flooded my brain on fast-forward. She's up. Wifey's awake. Look at that doting stare. I'm dead again. Rough night, huh? Check out her blushing little face. Mortified, I yanked the quilt over my head. Don't hide. He laughed softly, dragged me and the blanket into his arms. Skylar, look at me. I poked only my head out, not daring to meet his gaze. He pinched my chin and forced eye contact. Were you scared last night? I nodded honestly, then shook my head just as fast. Scared, yes, a little. But more than that, an unprecedented swoon and addiction. He seemed pleased. He dropped a light peck on my lips. You'll get used to it, gradually. Ah! It's not even 8 a.m. You'll get used to it. What a carnal line. Official announcement. CEO Sterling has switched from Ice King to walking hormone. I was so flustered I grabbed a change of topic. Lillian, how's the trending mess? Handled. He said it flatly, like swatting a gnat. From now on, no person, no thing, gets to upset you. While speaking he toyed with a lock of my hair, possessiveness undisguised. I picked up my phone and opened Twitter. Sure enough, last night's trending tag had vanished. Lillian's alt account showed user not found. In its place soared a new hashtag. Hashtag paygroup see Ethan, my wife, my rules hashtag. Inside was a post from the conglomerate's official account, uploaded at 3 a.m., no caption beyond the pic. In it Ethan was bending over, carefully icing my ankle, gaze gentler and more focused than I'd ever seen. The single comment, my wife, my rules. The thread had already blown up. Holy crap! Official flex? He's backing his missus. So Lillian's smear was fake news? New CEO Sterling wouldn't let wifey suffer. My wife, my rules, so alpha. So sweet. I'm shipping this. What divine love. I stared at that photo and that blunt declaration, heart syrupy with honey. This man had shouted my ownership to the planet in the loudest, most ruthless way, and cut off every escape Lillian had. Like it? He nuzzled my shoulder, chin parked there as we scrolled together. Too loud. I mumbled, yet my grin refused to behave. Not loud enough. He hugged me from behind, lips brushing my ear. I want the whole world to know you're mine. Skylar, you're my only, my once-in-a-lifetime exception. From that day our life flipped into full sweet pamper mode. He quit the study and commandeered half of the master bed. I woke every morning in his arms. I fell asleep every night against his chest. It was as if he meant to repay, double, every missing moment of the past year. He no longer masked his love or his possessiveness. Translation truncated to fit response length. Let me know if you'd like the rest.